Civilization Devours. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 126, A Paradise on Earth? Walking out of the Black Forest, we came to a grassland, where everything exuded a peaceful atmosphere. In the sky, the red sun was hanging high, emitting rays of heat, nourishing all things. Several cattle and sheep were slowly chewing the grass on the ground. After they were full, they lay on the ground and squinted lazily. This place formed a strong contrast with the Black Forest, which made Chen Mou feel uneasy. The red sun exuded an invisible attraction, attracting the two to move forward slowly. Something is wrong. Chen Mou heard a strange voice coming from his ears, which was not clear, but gave people a sense of conviction. It felt like facing the truth, rules, and order, and everything the other party said and did was absolutely correct. Chen Mou quickly activated the Sea of Consciousness lighthouse to illuminate everything and guide the way forward, and then suppressed this feeling. Lin Chuanzhou on the side also shone with light, isolating this strange power from outside. This power is so magical. I heard some unclear sounds, which seemed to come from the red sun. Lin Chuanzhou looked up at the scorching sun in the sky. It's a bit strange, let's go and take a look, Chen Mou suggested with a stiff face. Lin Chuanzhou nodded, maybe there was a secret to escape ahead. The two continued to move forward, and they didn't encounter any danger along the way, which was beyond their expectations. A roar sounded in front of them, and the breath was overwhelming. Chen Mou sensed the power of the law, but there was no killing intention, as if the two sides were fighting in a friendly manner. A figure came at a very fast speed, and it was far away in the sky at first, and it landed in front of Chen Mou and the others in just a breath. It was a tall man with black hair like a waterfall, eyes as bright as morning stars, and a strong body. Around him, a force of law was condensing and surrounding. Chen Mou looked at him in astonishment. He sensed the breath of a real human being on the other person, not a humanoid creature. The other person was a living person, his kind. And that power was so strong. Isn't it not allowed to surpass the realm of miracle apprentices here? Even miracle masters are not allowed. But this person's strength is that of a law scholar. Are you, junior brothers and sisters? The other party spoke uncertainly. I'm a freshman at Xinghua Academy. My name is Chen Mou. Are you a senior from the previous year? Chen Mou said. It was undoubtedly very cordial to see his companions here. He was going to ask the other party for information. Maybe the other party had a way out. But thinking about it, Chen Mou was discouraged again. This person has been here for who knows how long, and he hasn't seen him escape. Is he really going to be trapped here to death? My name is Gao Mingxun, and I'm a student of the 3017th grade. The other party laughed heartily. I didn't expect to see junior brothers and sisters come in again after such a long interval. My name is Lin Chuanzhou. Lin Chuanzhou also reported his own name, and his beautiful eyes blinked gently. Senior brother is really talented, and he has such a cultivation at such a young age. Chen Mou and other freshmen are in the 3020th grade, and the other party is in the 3017th grade, which means he is a senior student. A senior has the strength of a law scholar. This talent is too terrifying. Like Lu Jingxian, as the director, he is over 100 years old and is also a law scholar. Both sides are equal. As a student, he was able to challenge the teacher, and the other party was the director, not an ordinary teacher. This talent reminded Lin Chuanzhou of a genius from a long time ago, but unfortunately the other party seemed to have suffered a serious injury, which damaged his foundation and missed the Hall of Fame. Now the senior brother is undoubtedly equivalent to that terrifying figure coming back, and he will definitely be qualified to challenge the Hall of Fame in the future. Gao Mingxun smiled embarrassedly. I'm not as great as you think. I was just average in Xinghua Academy before, and there were many geniuses who were more dazzling than me. But when I came to the Black Forest, everything changed. It's peaceful and tranquil here, and the laws are so close to me. To put it in easy-to-understand terms, it's easier to comprehend the Great Dao. Practicing here, 1 day is equivalent to 10 days outside. At the beginning, I was chased into the Black Forest by an indigenous creature in the secret realm. I thought this was the beginning of a nightmare, but everything was beyond my expectations. This is an ideal country. Lin Chuan opened his beautiful eyes wide, and a look of surprise appeared on his round little face. Brother, You are not kidding us. The dean and my sister have warned me not to enter the Black Forest. It is a life and death situation for saints. Gao Mingsun waved his hand. That's just a misunderstanding of the Black Forest by the world. There is no fighting here, no need to worry about resources, everyone enjoys themselves, and all species live in harmony. It's simply a paradise. But, Lin Chuanzuo still couldn't believe it. I know it's a little hard for you to accept, but this is the truth. I am a real example. Not only did I not get hurt here, but my strength has greatly improved. Gao Mingsun smiled, and the laws around him roared. A violent wind blew up, and dark clouds gathered in the sky, covering the entire area. It is said that miracle masters can bring the dead back to life, interfere with the mind, teleport, control the wind, control lightning, and change the temperature. I used to envy him, but now I can do it, and it's easier than him. Because he consumes the power of miracles, and I use the laws of heaven and earth. The dark clouds rolled for a while, and it didn't rain in the end. Gao Mingsun waved his hand again, and the sky turned clear again. Seeing this scene, your brother Gao turned his hand to make clouds and rain. Lin Chuanzuo's eyes flashed with envy. She couldn't help but think in her heart, if I stay and practice for 3 years, I can also achieve this level. Although I dare not say that I have a peerless talent, it is far better than many people. If I practice here for 3 years, my sister will be shocked when I go out. Lin Chuanzuo smiled. Chen Mou felt something was wrong. He didn't think there was a free lunch in the world. If there was an opportunity, he had to fight for it. Things that were too easy to get at a sense of illusion and unreality. Brother, have you ever thought about going out? With your current cultivation, if you return to the real world, you will be considered a big shot in Huaki country. Chen Mou asked. Gao Mingsun seemed very happy to meet his classmates. He answered without thinking when he heard the question, of course I have this idea, and it is easier to leave here than you think. If you walk in the direction of the red sun, you can reach the center of this place, where there is a way to leave. So I feel that this is indeed a paradise, and the cultivation is fast. If you want to leave, you can leave at any time. Then why don't you leave, brother? Chen Mou narrowed his eyes slightly. Hearing the other party say this is really a treasure land. If this place can greatly improve the speed of cultivation, but you can't leave, it will give people a sense of cage. However, on the contrary, you can leave here at any time. Chen Mou felt even more strange. Chapter 127 Senior Brothers and Sisters. I also want to go back and see my family, but the Lord of the Black Forest has passed down a rule that if you leave, you will never be able to come back again for the rest of your life. Gao Mingsun's face was a little melancholy, so there is no way. Although I miss my family, once I go out, I will lose such a good environment. I want to practice for a few more years and reach the realm of a saint, and then leave. The saint is almost at the top of Huaki country, respected by thousands of people. If Gao Mingsun can really reach the realm of a saint in a few years, it is unimaginable. Gao Mingsun became happy again as he spoke. He believed that he could definitely reach the realm of a saint here. Here, his thinking is very active and his comprehension is greatly enhanced. It is not just as simple as practicing faster. Many problems that he couldn't understand before were understood here all of a sudden. Lin Chuanzuo was a little moved. Saint, this is the goal pursued by everyone in Huaki country. Just because the Lin family has a saint, the status of this family has been infinitely elevated. Many companies have come to cooperate with them, and the mecha business has spread all over the country. To become a saint, one must possess extraordinary talent, the courage to break through everything, and perseverance beyond the reach of ordinary people. But even with these 3 things, one still may not be able to become a saint. There are many amazing geniuses in history who practiced very hard, but were stuck at the last level and did not comprehend. They were only one step away from becoming a saint, but ultimately did not break through this barrier. Brother, are you confident that you can become a saint in a few years? Lin Chuan opened his rosy little mouth slightly, very surprised. Gao Mingsun answered calmly, of course I am not blindly confident. This is the territory opened up by the Lord of the Black Forest. I have seen many sage-level terrifying creatures here, which proves that it is much easier to become a saint here than outside. The Lord of the Black Forest wants to create an ideal country, where everyone must abide by the rules and cannot fight each other. Those sage-level beings live in peace with me. Even if there is no benefit of improving cultivation, this is still a very suitable place to live. In the outside world, there are too many fights, and everyone is wrapped up in desire. How can it be as peaceful and tranquil as here? It's a pity that my family is not here, otherwise I would live here all my life. And there is another rule in the Black Forest, that is, people who leave cannot reveal news about it to the outside world, otherwise if you leave, maybe you can notify my family and let them find a way to come in. Chen Mou also had to admit that this Black Forest sounded really good, with fast cultivation and no fighting with others, and no danger at all. But why is it restricted for people who go out to disclose relevant information? Perhaps the Lord of the Black Forest does not want others to come voluntarily, or is worried about being spied on by some existence, so he only accepts those who are destined to come. Chen Mou thought that if he cultivated here for a few years, would he be able to become a saint when he went out? With the power of his sea swallow art, he would be able to basically walk sideways by then. But the more Chen Mou thought about it, the weirder it felt. He couldn't believe that he was so lucky to turn danger into safety and turn a desperate situation into a blessed place. Moreover, he had a familiar feeling here, and the faint voice in his ear made him a little uncomfortable. He glanced at Lin Chuanzuo next to him, and the other party seemed very moved. Chen Mou coughed, which made Lin Chuanzuo come back to his senses, with a thoughtful look in his eyes. Gao Mingxun didn't care. Junior brothers and sisters, come on, I'll take you to meet other senior brothers and sisters. They also accidentally broke into the Black Forest in the past few years. Some of them have higher cultivation than me. Chen Mou and Lin Chuanzuo looked at each other, nodded, and prepared to go and see the situation. This senior brother should have no ill intentions. If he wants to deal with the two of us, he can knock them down with a wave of his hand. There is no need to spend a lot of effort. But Chen Mou felt that the other party was influenced and assimilated a little thoroughly, and he admired the Lord of the Black Forest very much. Seeing the two nodded in agreement, Gao Mingxun waved his sleeves, and the laws surged, enveloping the two. Like the movement of the stars, the mountains and rivers retreated at a rapid speed, and this speed far exceeded Chen Mou's burst limit. On the way, Chen Mou also heard the other party's voice, "Junior brothers and sisters, let me tell you, although I have never seen the Lord of the Black Forest, the other party's power is really like the abyss and cannot be guessed. Alice, the civilization level of our Ziji star is still too weak, limited to a Jinwu star system. If I have 1/10 of the power of the Lord of the Black Forest, I am afraid I can directly wipe out the alien civilization that is hostile to us. But we are still in the early stages of civilization, there is nothing we can do about it. As the times develop, we will become stronger and stronger." Gao Mingxun talked endlessly and praised the Lord of the Black Forest, making Chen Mou really feel that the other party was brainwashed. But Gao Mingxun's understanding of other issues was very clear and well organized. For a moment, Chen Mou was in doubt. Soon, the destination was reached. "Liang Xian, Song Yuan, are you there? You guys come out quickly, there are junior brothers and sisters here." Gao Mingxun shouted. "What? Finally, junior brothers and sisters are here." Several people rushed out, 4 men and 5 women, all with strong auras. Among them, the man who rushed in the front was the strongest. He took a long step and came to Chen Mou like a flash. This person's aura was integrated, as if it was in harmony with the nature of heaven and earth. The power of nature is his power, and he breathes with heaven and earth. There is a faint power of law flowing around him, which is 3 times stronger than Gao Mingxun. "This is Liang Xian, who is in the same class as me." Gao Mingxun introduced them, and pointed to Chen Mou and the other one. "This is junior brother Chen Mou, and the other is junior sister Lin Chuanzuo." "Hello, senior brother." Chen Mou and Lin Chuanzuo greeted each other. Without waiting for Liang Xian to respond, Gao Mingxun continued to introduce, "This is Song Yuan, this is Wu Bingwei, this is..." Song Yuan is a handsome man with a chic demeanor, while senior sister Wu Bingwei has a cold face and a hot body. The other senior brothers and sisters also have their own characteristics, but without exception, their strength is terrifying. Chen Mou sensed that more than half of the people here have reached the realm of law scholars, and the rest are also in the realm of miracle masters. What a luxurious lineup. Chen Mou sighed silently. The strength of this group of students can be compared with the teachers of Xinghua Academy. Lin Chuanzuo couldn't hide his surprise. Originally, Gao Mingxun attributed his achievements to the peculiarities of this secret realm, and she thought that this senior brother was modest. But the strength of these people in front of him made Lin Chuanzuo believe it. A student can reach the realm of law scholars, and you can still be said to be a genius, but a group of people are so powerful, which doesn't make sense. Genius is not so cheap. Chen Mou and Lin Chuanzuo looked at the senior brothers and sisters, and they also looked at these two people. Chen Mou's current strength is not that strong, but they dare not underestimate them. The talents of these two people are probably better than theirs. At least before entering the secret realm, their strength was not as strong as these two people. It was also because of the hard training here in the past few years that they have achieved today's cultivation. Chapter 128 Soul-Severing Sword. Brothers and sisters, come with me. It's almost time for dinner. Let's eat and chat. Liang Xian was very enthusiastic and took Chen Mou away. A group of 12 people sat around a large wooden table, and several brothers and sisters put the dishes on the table. Milk, goat's milk, fruits, sorghum, corn soup, bean cakes and other dishes filled the entire table. Chen Mou looked at it and thought it was very rich, but soon he frowned. There was no meat. Except for milk and goat's milk, which could barely be considered meat, the rest were all vegetarian. If you don't eat meat, wouldn't you be a monk? Seeing Chen Mou's strange expression, Gao Mingsun explained, Junior brother, we also eat some beef and mutton, but we only eat it once in a long time. We usually eat mainly vegetarian dishes. We should live in harmony with the animals around us. We should try not to kill them if we can. Chen Mou's expression quickly returned to calm, and he nodded. It seems that the senior brothers and sisters are still vegetarians. He didn't show any expression on his face, but he felt strange in his heart. The behavior of these senior brothers and sisters was really weird. This Black Forest secret realm has a mysterious power that affects everyone. If one of them is a vegetarian, it's not strange. But is it possible that a group of people are vegetarians? Chen Mou was very wary of the power around him that secretly influenced everyone. Lin Chuanzuo didn't think so much, and picked up a bean cake and ate it with relish. By the way, fellow senior brothers and sisters, have you ever thought about leaving this secret realm? Or do you have to cultivate to the realm of saints first like senior brother Gao Mingsun? Chen Mou asked tentatively. What's the good of going out? People outside are all scheming against each other, fighting for fame and fortune, and there are many things that are annoying. I think it's better to stay here. Liang Xian responded immediately. Song Yuang also said, I have been studying alone since I was a child. I don't have a good relationship with my parents. I am dispensable to them. Maybe they are not sad at all when I disappear in the Black Forest. I don't want to go out, so as not to be upset by dealing with these relationships. Senior sister Wu Bingwei pondered for a while and said, I haven't thought about this issue before. I want to go out, but I think the situation outside is really complicated. Even if you become a saint, you are full of constraints and can't do whatever you want. I think cultivating to a saint is not the end. You have to go to a higher level to be truly free. Several other people also spoke one after another. They all felt that this was a paradise. If it weren't for their families outside, they wouldn't want to go out at all. These people had different opinions, but they had one thing in common. In the short term, they would definitely stay here and had no intention of leaving. Chen Mou fell into thought. When these people were at the level of miracle masters, they thought about reaching the level of law scholars. When they reached the level of law scholars, they wanted to become saints. After becoming a saint, they want to continue to break through. Maybe they will never leave. It is not only the temptation of power here, but also the peaceful life that makes them reluctant to leave. Chen Mou didn't know whether it was good or bad. Maybe they were affected by the power in the secret realm, but it should also be partly due to personal choice. After dinner, Chen Mou asked, how can I leave this secret realm? Junior brother, do you want to leave now? Wu Bingwei was a little surprised. Why not stay and practice? The practice in this secret realm is more than 10 times faster than in the outside world. Yes, it's so good here. There is no fighting, and the practice is fast. The mysterious practitioners in the outside world want to make rapid progress, and they can't avoid fighting with each other. Injury is a common thing, and sometimes even endangers their lives. There is no such concern here. A senior sister named Shen Bingbing said. When talking about the fights in the outside world, Shen Bingbing obviously flashed a trace of rejection. She didn't like this kind of fight. Chen Mou shook his head. As a mysterious person, fighting is inevitable. Even if we humans don't fight among ourselves, we have to fight against alien civilizations. When I have achieved success in my cultivation in the future, I will also go to the starry sky to train. Aliens. Several senior brothers and sisters flashed a thoughtful look. With their cultivation as law scholars, They are already qualified to go to the Starry Sky battlefield to participate in the war. It is right to serve the country, but this Black Forest secret realm has also cultivated us. If I leave, I will never come back. A senior brother obviously regarded this place as his second home. He wanted to return to the real world, but he was very hesitant when he thought that he would never return to the Black Forest after leaving. Okay, I agree with your idea. Although I still decided to stay here, if you want to conquer the Starry Sky and serve the country in the future, I have to support you. Liang Xian took out a long sword sealed in a scabbard. When I first entered the secret realm, I was just a new apprentice of miracles. My cultivation was very low, so naturally I didn't have any treasures. But in the past 3 years, I collected all kinds of divine iron in the realm, smelted and mixed them, and polished them all the way, and finally created this soul-slaying sword. Others are 10 years to sharpen a sword, and the frost blade has never been tested. I sharpened a sword for 3 years. Although I am almost there, I am also mediocre. The long sword was unsheathed, and the sword light was like a dragon and snake. The wind and clouds changed color, the sky darkened, and lightning surged. The laws on the sword emerged, drawing the power of the sky. Liang Xian waved his long sword, and a high mountain in the distance was directly shattered, exploding into countless mud and scattered. Lin Chuanzhuo's eyes lit up, and he was very yearning in his heart. This is the power of the law. Chen Mou had to admit that this kind of great power could be ranked third in his life. A single blow completely annihilated an entire mountain. This is the power of heaven and earth, beyond the scope of human power. As for the second place, it was the one who witnessed the Saint of the Hall of Fame destroying the typhoon with one blow that day. The demeanor of the world in his palm was unforgettable. The first one was Mr. Grey Wolf, an ancient god. He did not reveal too much, but just the hand of interfering with time showed a supreme demeanor. As for the Dean and others, they might be stronger than Liang Xian, but they did not make a move after all. Liang Xian sealed the long sword back into the scabbard and handed it to Chen Mou. This sword is in your custody. It can be regarded as my contribution to the country. Chen Mou hesitated. He wanted to refuse. After all, he also had his own reservations. But the things the other party gave were too good. In the end, he accepted this sort of beheading. It smells really good. Chen Mou urged the power of miracles and chopped the sword of beheading. The sword energy surged. A deep crack appeared on the ground, which was dozens of meters long. This is certainly not as good as Brother Liang Xian's sword that split the mountain, but it is also very strong. After all, he is just a miracle apprentice. Chen Mou smiled and thanked his senior brother. Liang Xian didn't care and turned to look at Lin Xuanzhou. Junior sister, what are your plans? Are you going to leave or stay? If you leave, we can give you some small gifts, but you will lose such a good training environment. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 129, Reaching the Middle of Miracle Apprentice. Hearing the question from her senior brother, Lin Chuanzhuo was a little entangled. On the one hand, she wanted to go back and reunite with her family, but on the other hand, she was a little reluctant to leave the cultivation environment here. After all, a place that allows people to cultivate to the level of a law scholar within 3 years is hard to find in the world. Seeing that these senior brothers and sisters have cultivated to the level of a law scholar in just 3 years, she was very envious. If she stayed, with her talent, she would definitely not lose to these senior brothers and sisters in cultivation. It is equivalent to 3 years of hard practice in seclusion in exchange for the level of a law scholar, which is worth it no matter how you think about it. As for the senior brother's suggestion to give her some treasures, Lin Chuanzhou didn't care much about it. She was born in the Lin family, and there were saints in the Hall of Fame in the family, so there were still many treasures. Lin Chuanzhou was about to say that she would stay to cultivate and go out to reunite with her family after 3 years, when she heard Chen Mou speak. Chuanzhou, come out with me. Lin Chuanzhou was stunned and looked at Chen Mou. Chen Mou's eyes were very firm, with a convincing power. Why did Chen Mou have to think about going out immediately? Lin Chuanzhou couldn't understand it. Okay, I'll get ready to go out, or my sister will definitely be worried. Lin Chuanzhou decided to leave, and she felt vaguely that she should trust Chen Mou's judgment. The brothers and sisters looked regretful. thinking that the two brothers and sisters had missed the opportunity. Practicing outside for more than 10 years may not be as effective as practicing here for a year. Coming so inside again and again, why are you two in such a hurry to leave? It would be better to stay here for a year or two. I think my progress won't be too slow if I go out to practice. Chen Mou laughed. It hasn't been long since he got the sea swallow secret, but his strength has improved by leaps and bounds. In addition, with the existence of memories, the difficult problems that others have to think hard about are like non-existent to him. Even if he doesn't practice very hard, and he slacks off every day, his progress can far exceed others. What's more, Chen Mou never slacks off. These people obviously think that Chen Mou is just talking casually and don't care. Seeing Chen Mou and Lin Chuanzuo preparing to leave, the other brothers and sisters also took out some treasures. This is the Mingxian flower, also known as the small enlightenment fruit. It can enhance your spiritual power and is very beneficial to your current practice. Song Yuang took out a plant with 7 colored petals. Chen Mou took the Mingxian flower. It was unknown how long this flower had been picked, but it was still full of luster and showed no signs of withering. The 7 petals emitted a faint light. Chen Mou was slightly excited. He knew something about the Mingxian flower. This thing was called the small enlightenment fruit and was extraordinary. The enlightenment fruit could make the rule scholars break through, and the Mingxian flower had a strong effect on the miracle masters. The other 3 brothers also took out a few fruits, full of vitality. The sisters were busy arranging treasures for Lin Chuanzuo. This is a black iron spear, which was refined by my law and has good power. Wu Bingwei gave one of her treasures to Lin Chuanzuo. As soon as Chen Mou heard about the black iron spear, the image of ancient iron horses and generals holding a spear and stabbing the enemy through emerged in his mind. Just thinking about it, he turned his head and looked, and couldn't help but stare. It turned out to be a pistol, small and exquisite, with a gun body made of black iron. Lin Chuanzuo seemed very happy, and grabbed the black iron gun with his white and tender palm, and pulled the trigger in front of him. With a bang, a huge rock exploded and broke into powder. Chen Mou's eyes jumped, which was almost as powerful as his full-strength kick. The key is that this is a long-range attack, and the longer the inch, the stronger it is. Long range is much better than close range. However, his own soul-slaying sword can also emit sword energy, which can barely be considered a long-range attack. Several other female classmates also took out some spiritual treasures and handed them to Lin Chuanzuo. Chen Mou thanked the group of people, and finally couldn't help but remind them, "Dear seniors, do you feel that there is a strange power in this world that affects you, making you feel that you are facing the truth and rules, and you are convinced unconsciously?" Chen Mou wanted to say that they were brainwashed, so they didn't want to return to the outside world, but he said it more tactfully. Liang Xian chuckled, "It seems that there is such a force, but it is not necessarily a bad thing. Anyway, I feel that life here is very easy, that's enough. This force may be soothing our emotions. The creatures living here are very peaceful and basically don't fight." Coming soon was thoughtful. Chen Mou felt that he couldn't persuade them, so he gave up. They have lived here for a long time, and their personalities have changed imperceptibly. They will not be swayed by his words. These brothers and sisters are unexpectedly kind, taking care of the younger generation in various ways, and giving away treasures. This is simply unimaginable for Chen Mou. But it happened just like that. Chen Mou didn't know whether this change was good or bad. He didn't want to be affected by the power here, so he prepared to leave. Coming soon pointed out, "You walk in the direction of the red sun, and you will eventually see an altar. There is a door on the altar. You can leave here through that door." Chen Mou asked, "Brother, how do you know this?" Coming soon should not have tried to pass through that door. "This is what the goddess in charge of everything told me." Coming soon's face flashed a trace of awe. The two said goodbye to their senior brothers and sisters and headed towards the red sun. While walking, Chen Mou picked a petal of the Mingxian flower and put it in his mouth. After chewing it and swallowing it into his stomach, he soon had a reaction. A coolness was transmitted to his sea of consciousness, and his mental power surged, and the lighthouse of the sea of consciousness became brighter. Chen Mou picked another piece and threw it into his mouth. In this way, after a day, Chen Mou ate all 7 petals. The mental power surged like a tide, and the waves rushed to the sky. The lighthouse of the sea of consciousness stood steadily in it, never shaking. The spirit refining method was running. Although the wind and waves in the sea of consciousness were big, they were always under Chen Mou's control. The breath rose wildly one by one, and finally reached the peak, breaking through the last pass. Chen Mou broke through to the middle stage of the miracle apprentice. The mental power frenzy began to calm down, and the sea of consciousness returned to calm state again. But the mental power now is much stronger than before. Lin Chuanzuo looked at Chen Mou with a little surprise. She could clearly sense that Chen Mou had made a breakthrough. The aura was very strong. The two continued to move forward. After a few days of trekking, the red sun in the sky was always hanging high, with no intention of setting. Finally, they came to an altar. The altar was round, with several pillars standing around it, with a mysterious atmosphere. The most important affairs of a country are sacrifices and wars. The altar has always been a very mysterious existence. It represents a place to communicate with God. There is really a door on it. Lin Chuanzuo's eyes lit up. In the center of the altar, there is a slightly illusory door. It is not very solid and does not look like a physical entity. There is a Taoist force flowing on it. Chapter 130 Goddess of Order. Let's go up and take a look. Chen Mou took a step forward, cautiously, not daring to move forward too fast. This is a place to communicate with God, revealing mystery, and if you are not careful, you will offend the power of God. The two walked along, and everything went smoothly, and they arrived at the end smoothly. It's so smooth, it's a bit unreasonable. Chen Mou thought he would have to go through some twists and turns. Let's go in, we can go back through here. Lin Chuanzuo smiled on his delicate little face. Although he gave up the cultivation environment here, he was still very happy to think that he could see his sister when he went out. Chen Mou nodded and was about to step through this virtual door. Stop. A clear and cold voice came, and the invisible force imprisoned the bodies of the two, making them unable to move at all. Feeling that his power was completely sealed, his body was completely stiff and unable to move, Chen Mou really wanted to slap himself. Wouldn't it be better to leave quickly just now? What nonsense are you talking about? What a crow's mouth. A very light sound of footsteps came from behind, and it was also because Chen Mou was the Lord of Storms and was very sensitive to subtle movements that he could catch this sound. The person came from behind Chen Mou and walked around to the front of him. Stunning. The person was a woman. Chen Mou was shocked when he saw her face, and his heart skipped a beat. The woman's face was flawless. She had long white hair, which fluttered behind her. The left eye was dark blue, and the right eye was translucent yellow, like two gems, bringing a kind of enchanting beauty. The black robe made the woman's skin even whiter. The robe was embroidered with complicated patterns in gold thread, some of which looked like lotus flowers, and some looked like eyes, revealing a mysterious atmosphere. Under the robe, the long legs were straight and slender, with a pair of bare jade feet, and came and stood in front of Chen Mou. Her beauty can be ranked in the top 3 among what Chen Mou has seen, comparable to Chu Xiaoxi and Lin Sichen, but compared with the latter two, she has more noble and mysterious temperament. The person who came was not human, because her ears were slightly pointed, more like an elf. But Chen Mou knew she was not an elf, because he knew the person who came. It's you. Chen Mou blurted out. His whole body was stiff, but his mouth could still move. The visitor was a little surprised. Do you know me? No. Chen Mou answered honestly. To be precise, it was his future self who knew the other person, but his current self didn't know her. The woman was stunned. What did you say? Looking at your expression just now, I had the illusion that we really knew each other. I suspected that my memory was disordered. Chen Mou glared at the visitor. Although he knew the other person, the two were not very friendly. The real name of this woman is unknown. I only know that others call her the Goddess of Order. Her father is the ancient god, the controller of order, and the executor of rules. The Goddess of Order is just as her name suggests. The power she controls is order. With a word, the rules change. All kinds of truths and laws are invalid in front of her because she can make the truth. Just like the gods hold the law in their mouths, what I say is the law, and what I do is the law. As soon as the Goddess of Order stepped onto the stage of the universe, she immediately swept through a group of self-righteous geniuses, killing them and making them wail and cry. Chen Mou unfortunately became one of them, which was simply a stepping stone on the road to becoming a god. The hardships involved were not worth telling to outsiders. Of course, Chen Mou later became powerful and was no longer afraid of the other party. But for various reasons, he never found a chance to take revenge. Chen Mou was upset about this. So now he stared at the other party, hoping to vent his anger. But he got one thing wrong again. With his current strength, he was obviously not as good as the other party by 1/10,000th. The goddess of order narrowed her eyes. It seems that this little brother has a lot of opinions about me. Chen Mou reacted and felt that he seemed to be too arrogant. How can you not bow your head under the eaves? Immediately squeezed her stiff face and tried her best to squeeze out a few smiles. No, fairy, you are so beautiful. I am shocked by your beauty. Really? The goddess of order covered her mouth and smiled. Although she felt that Chen Mou was lying, she still felt a little benefited. She has lived here since she was a child and has not come into contact with many people. Those new students who have come in recent years are in awe of her and dare not say a few more words. Now that she had received Chen Mou's praise, she felt elated. Chen Mou was delighted. It seemed that women all like to hear nice words, no matter whether you said it was true or false. She had gotten away with it. Do you two want to go out? The goddess of order asked. Yes. Lin Chuanzhuo answered. She wanted to nod like a chicken pecking at rice, but found that her neck was a little stiff and she couldn't move. The goddess of order nodded. Okay, you can go out. Lin Chuanzhuo's little face showed a smile, and it seemed that things were going well. Fairy, I want to go out too. Chen Mou showed a smile that he thought was perfect. You can't go out. The goddess of order froze the smile on Chen Mou's face. She flicked her sleeves again, letting Lin Chuanzhuo's body regain freedom, and then flicked him into the illusory portal, disappearing from the spot in an instant. Why is that? Chen Mou was a little unhappy. Because I think you are very interesting, so you can stay with me. The goddess of order smiled like a blooming lotus. If other people were faced with such a noble and mysterious fairy, and the other party asked you to stay with her, who knows how excited they would be. Moreover, the other party is a son of God, and his status and position in the entire universe are extremely noble, far better than any princess of the dynasty. But Chen Mou was a little unhappy. I have disliked you for a long time, so why bother with you? Chen Mou rolled his eyes and said, does the fairy like me? That's not okay. I have bottom lines and principles. He tried his best to mobilize his stiff facial muscles and pretended to be worried that the other party would take advantage of him. The goddess of order snorted coldly, you are hostile to me, don't think I can't see it. Brat, just stay here. This is my father's secret realm. You are practicing faster here, which is a bargain for you. After that, she walked to the corner of the altar with a smile on her face, stretched her amazingly curvy body, sat down slowly, and admired Chen Mou's performance. At this time, Chen Mou was still stiff and couldn't move at all. Good goddess of order, it seems that we are destined to have a grudge. Chen Mou's words only echoed in his heart, and he didn't say it out loud. A surge of anger rose in his heart. When I become stronger in the future, I must trample your arrogance. His mind sank to the petrol pattern on his chest, trying to stimulate the silent power. But no matter how Chen Mou communicated, the other party seemed to be silent and did not respond at all. Chen Mou suspected that this thing had entered a deep sleep. Chapter 131 finally escaped. The last time the sea swallow revived was when Chen Mou encountered a life and death crisis in the ancient god realm. Then it remained silent. Chen Mou activated the sea swallow art and the magic dragon blood burning technique burst out crazily, trying to break the binding force around him. The opponent's power was too terrible. Chen Mou suspected that the goddess of order had reached the realm of a saint. His own power was too weak in comparison. Chen Mou was angry. Angry at his own incompetence. Although he had just broken through to the middle stage of the miracle apprentice not long ago, he was still pitifully weak. The blood and qi were surging, and Chen Mou's body was filled with uproar. The blood was surging like a tide, like a rushing river. Chen Mou's spirit, energy and spirit were one, and his combat power reached the peak of his life. Haha, a futile struggle. The goddess of order looked over, and her two gem-like eyes were cold and ruthless, as if looking at an ant in the mortal world. No matter how strong the will of an ant is, it cannot change the nature of an ant. How can they know the majesty of God? The goddess of order stretched out her slender jade palm and grabbed Chen Mou in the air. An invisible pressure was transmitted to Chen Mou. Chen Mou was like a chicken being held by a giant, with veins on his forehead. His whole body was full of strength, but it was nothing in front of this invisible force. Chen Mou's body was crushed, and the body of the dragon that was difficult for bullets to penetrate was oozing blood. This body has some characteristics of the dragon. The goddess of order narrowed her eyes and saw something unusual. She didn't care about it. Although the dragon clan was also a hegemon in the universe, she as a child of God, had no fear of the dragon. Seeing that Chen Mou couldn't bear it, the goddess of order relaxed her strength a little. She was still planning to keep Chen Mou for fun, but it would be a pity to kill him now. Chen Mou suddenly raised his head, and his eyes turned blood red, which scared the goddess of order. Immediately, she was relieved again. The other party's realm was too low. No matter how he burst out, he couldn't cross so many realms to fight with her. Chen Mou really didn't have many ways. He had memories of the future, knew a lot of secrets, and usually prepared some trump cards. But the realm gap was too big. The other party was a saint, and as a son of God, he was much stronger than ordinary saints. No matter what kind of trump card he had, it would not be useful. The binding force loosened, but Chen Mou's condition did not improve. He frantically urged his strength and the sea swallow art was running to its limit. More and more blood appeared on his body, which was the result of the collision of two forces. A hot current appeared in front of his chest, and the eyes of the sea swallow lit up. It spread its wings to embrace the sky, and a mysterious power radiated from Chen Mou. The sky began to darken, and the power of the robbery thunder was condensing. With the altar as the center, a storm vortex formed. The goddess of order was moved and stood up from the altar. "This is the controller of the storm." A slightly surprised voice came out, and the goddess of order took action. The power of order emerged, and the laws intertwined like a long whip, stabbing at Chen Mou fiercely. Chen Mou's body regained freedom. He raised his hand and flicked it, and the power of order collapsed inch by inch. He is the Lord of Storms, born for destruction, and even order cannot hold him back. Goddess of Order, we will meet again in the future. When we meet again, I will definitely compete with you. Chen Mou's cold words came, and he moved his body to pass through the door. He was not prepared to fight with a goddess of order. He was only relying on the power of the sea petrel and did not have the capital to compete with her. Want to run? The goddess of order pointed to the sky with one hand, and in the red sun, a more powerful force of order broke through the infinite space and landed. The power of binding descended, which was 10 times stronger than the previous power. Chen Mou's body froze again. At this moment, the ancient god lighthouse in his pocket emitted a little light. The lighthouse, which had never been strange, exuded a shocking aura. The two forces collided, and the majesty radiated out, making all the creatures in the entire Black Forest area feel a kind of doomsday-like terror. Liang Xian and others were shocked and sat on the ground under the pressure of this force. Even some saint-level creatures in the Black Forest fell to the ground in fear, not daring to look directly at the might of heaven. Chen Mou used the force of the collision to break free from his restraints and rushed into the illusory portal. Which ancient god is this power? The goddess of order did not leave Chen Mou behind, which was a small defeat, but there was not much frustration on her face. To be favored by both Haiyan and the ancient gods at the same time? Interesting. Originally, Chen Mou was not taken seriously, but at this moment, the goddess of order was a little interested in him. But why was Chen Mou hostile to her? She had never seen him before. And he actually knew that she was the daughter of the god of order? The goddess of order paid a little more attention to Chen Mou, but she didn't care much. Outside the Black Forest, a group of people stood in front, and Lin Sichen stood at the front, with a thoughtful look on her face. Behind her were the staff and students of Xinghua Academy, as well as the mystics of the Lin family. The auras of these people were very strong, and each of them had reached the level of miracle apprentice. However, there were no miracle masters, because of the rules here. Lin Sichen was at the peak of the miracle apprentice state, and it seemed that she was about to break through at any time. Just when she made up her mind to go in to look for someone, Lin Chuanzhou flew out with a whoosh. Lin Sichen was surprised, and rushed forward to catch him and gently put him down. Sister. Lin Chuanzhou's little face was a little confused. By the way, Chen Mou hasn't come out yet. She remembered the attitude of the goddess of order, who seemed to be somewhat hostile to Chen Mou. Chen Mou? Did you meet him there? How did you escape from the Black Forest? Lin Sichen asked hurriedly. It is said that even a saint who enters the Black Forest will have a life and death experience. Lin Sichen originally thought that her sister had already died, but she didn't expect that she could get away smoothly. Lin Chuanzhou was about to answer, but suddenly felt an invisible rule acting on her, making her unable to tell any news about the Black Forest. She opened her mouth, and finally fell silent again. Let's wait a little longer. Lin Chuanzhou was a little worried, not knowing what Chen Mou's current situation was. She was prepared to return to the Black Forest and ask for help from those senior brothers and sisters if there was really no other way. After waiting for a few minutes, a figure was thrown out from the Black Forest. Lin Sichen's eyes fixed and he recognized the other person as Chen Mou. Just as he was about to step forward to catch him, he frowned and stepped back a few steps without leaving a trace. Chen Mou was hit by the force, his body was unstable, and he fell head first. With a thud, Chen Mou's head pierced into the ground, and he became an upside-down onion. It was also because of his strong body. If an ordinary person who had not practiced encountered such a thing, he would have broken his neck and died. Lin Sichen hurried forward and pulled Chen Mou out like pulling a carrot. Chapter 132 Counting the Harvest. Ouch! Chen Mou felt uncomfortable all over. The power of the two ancient gods collided in front of him. If the lighthouse had not used some of its power to protect him, he would have turned into ashes. Chen Mou, are you okay? Lin Sichen helped Chen Mou up, looking concerned. I'm fine. Hearing Lin Sichen's caring words, Chen Mou was touched. Senior sister is so nice. He tried to straighten his back and show his majestic image. But a sharp pain came, and every muscle in his body seemed to be torn apart. Hiss. Chen Mou gasped in pain. Just now, he was madly running the magic dragon blood-burning technique, and his blood and energy burst to the strongest state in his life. Now the sequelae came. Not to mention that he was also hit by the power of the goddess of order, and the power of the ancient gods also had a little effect. The meridians in the whole body could not bear this load, and some directly cracked and oozing blood. Goddess of order, I will remember you. A surge of anger surged in Chen Mou's heart. The anger did not last long, and it calmed down again. He returned to a calm state. It was just a rage caused by incompetence, which was useless. God will not care about the anger of ants. But, the pace of progress will not stop. One day, the world will be in my hands. Chen Mou exhaled, and his eyes gradually turned into determination. Lin Sichen's heart trembled. Chen Mou's eyes were not very sharp, but they gave people a feeling of extreme calmness and determination. Once a goal is chosen, it must be completed. She has seen many conceited geniuses since she was a child, but compared with Chen Mou, they are nothing. What did you go through in there? Seeing Chen Mou's injuries, Lin Sichen hurriedly took out a bottle of purple healing potion and handed it over. Chen Mou drank the potion, and a powerful vitality burst out in his body. Coupled with the powerful repair power of the dragon's body, he instantly refreshed his spirit and felt much better. Inside, Chen Mou pondered and organized his words. Seeing Chen Mou's hesitation, Lin Sichen reacted, I know, you must have been affected by the strange rules of the Black Forest and can't describe the situation inside. Yes. Chen Mou immediately went with the flow and kept silent. In fact, the order forces in his body had long been turned into ashes in the collision of power, and it was impossible to restrict him at all. But Chen Mou didn't want to say much about the Black Forest. After all, it involved gods. The Purple Star civilization was still too fragile when facing the ancient gods, and there was no benefit in knowing too much. What's more, the goddess of order was hostile to him. Chen Mou and Lin Chuanzhou both returned smoothly. This was the best result. The group left the secret realm. After saying goodbye to everyone, Chen Mou returned to the dormitory of Xinghua Academy. Along the way, his body was repairing rapidly, cells were reconstructed, and his injuries gradually eased. Chen Mou, you are out of trouble. Seeing Chen Mou return, the three roommates were very surprised and showed joy on their faces. Chen Mou chatted with them for a while and then returned to his room. Taking out the soul-severing sword given by his senior brother and looking at it carefully, Chen Mou rarely smiled. This trip is worthwhile. Entering the Black Forest, he not only broke through to the middle stage of the Miracle Apprentice, but also got a soul-severing sword. This sword has been sacrificed and refined by a law scholar for a long time. I am afraid that the price will be several million, and even selling it for 10 million is not too difficult. I am rich, I am rich. Chen Mou worked hard, shooting commercials and writing novels, and only earned more than 1 million in total. Now there are only more than 800,000 left. Now the senior brothers are giving away treasures worth tens of millions. Among the 5 senior brothers, Liang first gave away the long sword, and Song Yang gave away the Mingshan flower, which has been eaten by Chen Mou. Gao Mingsun gave away a fire sun vine, which is not less valuable than the Mingshan flower. Chen Mou can feel the energy contained in it. In fact, the 2 senior brothers are at a slightly lower level, and they gave 2 strange fruits, one red and one yellow, which are slightly inferior to the treasures above. Chen Mou couldn't even name these two fruits. But for Chen Mou, it is still a very valuable thing. He estimated that the value of these two fruits alone is more than 1 million. Chen Mou carefully put the fire sun vine and the red and yellow fruit in a locker in the room. He had just made a breakthrough with the help of the Mingxian flower, and it was time to consolidate the results. There was still some hidden medicinal power in his body that had not been digested. It was not suitable to continue eating these rare treasures, which would be a waste. This locker is not an ordinary thing. It is specially configured by the school. It can effectively lock the medicinal power and prevent it from being lost. Finally, Chen Mou took out the ancient god lighthouse in his pocket and looked at it carefully. At the last moment, it was this lighthouse that burst out with power and resisted the power of the god of order, so that he could escape. Although the soul-slaying sword, fire sun vine and other things are also very precious, they seem a bit ordinary compared to this ancient god lighthouse. Even if someone offered 1 billion, Chen Mou would not be able to sell this lighthouse. Chen Mou began to try to communicate with the lighthouse by various means, trying to mobilize its power. But no matter how he tried, smashing and bombarding, the lighthouse was dead silent and unresponsive. Does this lighthouse have to be activated when facing a god-level power? Chen Mou felt a little depressed. With his current strength, he still couldn't use this lighthouse. It is obviously unrealistic to rely on the passive effect of the lighthouse. Who knows whether it will show its power in a critical moment. In the end, he gave up, put away the lighthouse, sat cross-legged in the room to practice, absorb the remaining medicinal power, and recover his body that was seriously injured in the battle. Chen Mou was practicing in the room. After Lin Chuanzhou and Lin Sichen got together, they also happily returned to their dormitory. When Su Zhuan saw Lin Chuanzhou coming back, he looked like he had seen a ghost. He couldn't help but pinch Lin Chuanzhou a few times, and then he was sure that the other party really returned safely. I didn't expect the Black Forest to be like this. Lin Chuanzhou returned to his room and placed a black iron gun on the table. In addition, there were some spiritual fruits. Trapped in it, Lin Chuanzhou was desperate at first. According to speculation, the saint would not get any benefits if he entered the Black Forest. But the actual Black Forest was beyond everyone's expectations. Lin Chuanzhou was also very happy to get these treasures, but he didn't pay too much attention to them. She turned on the computer and could not wait to log on to the Mystic Exchange website. The trial has been going on for more than 10 days, and I can't log into the network. After a gap of more than 10 days, Dog-Headed Military Advisor should have updated a lot of chapters. This time I can enjoy reading. Lin Chuanzhou was happy. She looked at it and saw that today was the 25th, and Xinghua Academy entered the secret trial on the 12th. According to the update volume of 10,000 per day, it must be 130,000. Suddenly, Lin Chuanzhou's eyes condensed, realizing that things were not simple. Chapter 133 Your negative review has been received. Looking at the website page, Lin Chuanzhou frowned and fell into deep thought. Did I open it the wrong way? She refreshed the page. There was no update. The latest chapter displayed on the page was the last chapter she finished reading before entering the secret realm. Lin Chuanzhou clicked the refresh button again, and it was still the same. There's really no update. Lin Chuanzhou's round face frowned, and he doubted his life. He threw the mouse in frustration. This guy is too lazy. I won't give you my good votes. Lin Chuanzhou cursed secretly. She didn't give up and clicked on the last chapter update, and pulled to the end to see if there were any new chapters. The result was naturally disappointing. But a strange situation caught her attention. Because the science fiction work Dog-Headed Military Advisor was directly compiled into a book and published, the number of good reviews and bad reviews were all counted together, not separated for each chapter. Lin Chuanzhou found that the number of bad reviews for this book called Red Moon Empire this month was far higher than the number of good reviews. Because Dog-Headed Military Advisor has not been updated for a long time, the number of good reviews is only 11,798, which is not as much as the increase last month. The number of bad reviews is 52,057. In this case, even if the advertising revenue from the number of clicks is included, this book will not be able to share the advertising fee for that month. Is it a bad writing? Is it a toxic one? Is it an anti-human plot? These thoughts flashed through Lin Chuanzhou's mind, but he thought it was impossible. He had read all the chapters and it was written quite reasonably. Could it be that the dog-headed military advisor has not updated for a long time, which has aroused the anger of netizens? Lin Chuanzhou muttered to himself. She became interested in exploring and immediately searched the comment area of the book to see what netizens said. Combining the comments of various netizens, Lin Chuanzhou quickly figured out the situation. It turned out that 50,000 of the 52,057 negative reviews were posted by a netizen named Grey Young Master. This Grey Young Master is also a well-known figure in the Zhuan's exchange website. However, it is not a good name, but a bad name. He became famous for maliciously posting negative reviews. In order to encourage netizens to vote more positively, the official website sold positive reviews at 3 yuan per ticket in the official mall. Of course, each account can also automatically obtain positive votes every month. The number will vary according to comprehensive factors such as level, activity, and certification. But some people are not satisfied with a monthly gift, so they have to buy it. For a positive vote, the author of the article can get a share of 1 yuan, but it costs 3 yuan to buy a positive vote, which is a premium. It also raises the threshold for the author to give himself positive reviews and data. There are positive votes for sale, and there are naturally negative votes for sale. But the official does not encourage negative reviews, and the price of a negative review ticket is 10 yuan. This gray man is probably a local tycoon and rich second generation. He is not short of money. He often gives negative reviews to people he doesn't like. In the past, he forced several article authors to quit the internet. Others write articles here to make some money, but this set of negative reviews will not make a penny, and it will be written in vain. They can only announce their withdrawal from the Zhuan's exchange website, or register a new vest and make a comeback. The gray man uses money to open the way, bombards all sides, and is majestic. He has also gathered a lot of younger brothers who watch the excitement and cheer for him. Since then, he has been even more complacent. He has many famous quotes. The younger brothers have extracted some of the more classic ones and spread them widely. The specific content is as follows. What's your writing? Bad review. I gave you a bad review, so what? Anyway, you can't kill me through the network cable. Brother has plenty of money, isn't it just a few bad votes? If you have the guts, come over and chop me down along the network cable. I am silent in real life, but I hit hard online. Lin Chuanzhou saw that this person was really amazing. He had grudges with many people on the internet. When he spit on people, he could beat 10 people at once and not lose. In addition, he has the ability to make money and is full of heroic spirit. He is really a character. Lin Chuanzhou continued to flip through the posts, wanting to see how the dog-headed military advisor and the gray man had a grudge. Soon she flipped to a post that introduced the story, which was very detailed. It turned out that the gray man also serialized a novel on the Zhuan's exchange website, which had some science fiction elements. He is a rich kid, so he is not doing this for the advertising fee, but for fun, to kill time and seek recognition. But the quality of what Grey Young Master wrote is really not good. Some people who don't like him started to attack him in the comment section. What you wrote is shit? Bad review. Grey Young Master didn't expect that his famous quotes would be used against him by his enemies, and he was immediately angry. Don't be so arrogant, be careful, I will give you bad reviews. I don't write articles, what's the point of giving you bad reviews? If you have the guts, come and hack me through the internet. Grey Young Master was really mad to death. This person plagiarized his words again, so he said another classic quote, you are so good, if you have the guts, you can write one, if you can't, don't talk too much. I think the dishes cooked by the chef are not delicious. Do I have to be a chef first before I can comment? What you wrote is shit, and I won't let people say it. Grey Young Master was unhappy. He felt that he wrote very well. Did he see so many younger brothers cheering for him? So he began to refute, you don't know how to appreciate. My novels are not the best in the entire Zhuan's exchange website, but they are at least in the 4th place. Compared with Red Moon Empire written by dog-headed military advisor, your novel is shit. You are not even worthy of carrying shoes for him. Grey Young Master was not convinced. These haters were too much? Who could tolerate such a famous work of his? He decided to see if Red Moon Empire was really so amazing. After seeing it, it was incredible. Grey Young Master cursed directly, dog-headed military advisor is a fool. The things in it are all why. There is also a star destroyer cannon that destroys a planet with one shot. Even the saints can't withstand it. What strong people can escape from the black hole? You are really good at bragging. Are you writing science fiction or fantasy novels? Imagining these things is nothing. Science fiction novels originally have fantasy elements, but many netizens also said that the plots you wrote are very real, and there is a sense of being in the scene, and they voted for dog-headed military advisor. Grey Young Master was very upset about this. These netizens really had no vision. The number of words in his novel was more than that of the dog-headed military advisor, but the number of favorable votes was less than 1/10 of his. How could this be tolerated? Grey Young Master directly posted a post titled "On the 10 Irrationalities of the Science Fiction Novel Red Moon Empire," severely refuting some of the contents in the book. By the way, he also gave the other party 50,000 negative votes, a total of 500,000 yuan, but Grey Young Master didn't care. This move attracted many people on the Xuan's exchange website to watch. This dog-headed military advisor was targeted by Grey Young Master, so how could he get away with it? Chapter 134 Xinhua Academy's Decision. Grey Young Master's followers cheered and left messages in the book review section of Red Moon Empire. What kind of shit is written by dog-headed military advisor? It's bullshit. Bad review? Must be bad review. To be fair, dog-headed military advisor's writing is not bad, but it is indeed a little lacking in fire compared to Grey Young Master's masterpiece. He needs to learn more. All parties paid attention and waited for dog-headed military advisor's response, but for several days, the other party did not respond at all, and the novel was not updated. The followers shouted even more happily. Dog-headed military advisor is scared. Facing Grey Young Master's big move, there is no way to fight back. Grey Young Master used to have many achievements, and he also made 2 or 3 writers at the level of Miracle Master unable to survive. Some people recalled Grey Young Master's glorious achievements. Miracle Master still has a high status and strong ability to make money. Grey Young Master gave the other party bad reviews and was counterattacked. The other party gave his own articles good reviews to offset it. Because the price of negative votes is much higher than that of positive votes, Grey Young Master spent a lot of money to win these battles. Someone has calculated that Grey Young Master spent more than 10 million yuan in real money to win a small victory. It was just a small victory, because the opponent, as a Miracle Master, also had to face up to his reputation and would rather pay money to fight to the end. But in the end, these Miracle Masters were no longer in the mood to write any articles. In the days to come, they only published some comments and did not write original articles. After all, they did not have to make money by writing articles, but more of an interest. The fantasy novel exchange website became the biggest winner of this battle in one fell swoop, collecting money from both parties, and then not paying a penny for advertising fees. One of the writers at the level of a Miracle Master angrily commented, "The creative environment of the exchange website is very poor." Grey Young Master has been even more complacent since then, and he has no respect for others. Everyone dared to be angry but did not speak out, and regarded Grey Young Master as a dog. Although you are not afraid of this dog, you don't want to provoke it, otherwise you can't stand it if it pounces on you and bites you. Now that the dog-headed military advisor dared not respond, everyone thought that he was also a coward. Generally, Grey Young Master would not continue to target such a coward, and he would not give bad reviews next month. On the contrary, both sides would fight to the end and both would suffer. Some people who wanted to watch the excitement were disappointed. I thought it would be another big battle, and I could watch the excitement, but I didn't expect it to die down like this. This is also the right choice. Grey Young Master is a mad dog. Who dares to provoke him? This dog-headed military advisor has not been verified by real name, and his identity is unknown, but the articles he wrote before are very profound. I thought he was a big shot, but he still gave up. Seeing that there was no more drama to watch, the heat of the matter gradually decreased. This kind of thing is very common. Grey Young Master is very smart. He doesn't provoke big shots that he shouldn't provoke. Since his debut, although he has bitten people everywhere, he has never suffered any losses. Lin Chuanzuo was puzzled. Where did the dog-headed military advisor go? Did he really give up? But she soon denied her idea. The dog-headed military advisor was at least a big shot at the realm of a lost scholar. He could kill Grey Young Master with just one finger. How could he admit defeat? Grey Young Master, wait for death? Lin Chuan mourned for the other party. In the past, this man was quite discerning and would never provoke a lost scholar. His best record was only a loss to a few Miracle Masters. Now he has lost his mind and provoked a big shot. However, the dog-headed military advisor did not conduct real name authentication. It was normal for Grey young master not to know the situation. He read the dog-headed military advisor's articles with tinted glasses, so he naturally could not understand the subtleties. Only Lin Chuan, who was smart and wise, could see through the clues and see the essence, and in for that the dog-headed military advisor was a big shot. Chen Mou didn't know what happened and had not logged into the Zuan's exchange website. He was stimulated by the goddess of order, and he had been practicing hard since he came back. 3 consecutive days passed, and Chen Mou spent them in practice, and his injured body recovered quickly. The aura in the accommodation area of Xinghua Academy is rich, more than 5 times that of the outside world. Chen Mou's cultivation progress here has improved compared to at home. During this process, Chen Mou went out to the commercial district to buy a box of nutrient solution and 6 spirit concentrating trees, spending a total of 120,000. With his current strength, the nutrient solution still has an effect, but it is not particularly great. Chen Mou gulped down 2 bottles of nutrient solution, absorbed the aura, and repaired the last bit of his injuries. A divine light bloomed in his eyes, and his spirit, energy and spirit were one, and his fighting spirit was pressing. The blood in his body rumbled and his breath was overwhelming. If he was not very sure about Zhangyan before, he was not afraid at all after the breakthrough. After a period of time, Xinghua Academy's decision on the handling of the secret trial incident also came out. Kong Dexiao, the dean of Xinghua Academy, as the general person in charge of the trial, failed to supervise and bear the main responsibility, but he commanded properly afterwards and had meritorious performance, and was given a serious punishment. I voluntarily resigned from the position of dean. Ma Ming's, the dean of Xinghua Academy, was given a demerit for poor supervision. Fang Lianping, the dean of Xinghua Academy, was given a demerit for poor supervision. LV Jingshan, the director of Xinghua Academy, the main executor of the vicious incident, whose motive is currently unknown, has been shot dead and was given a disciplinary punishment of dismissal from the school. There will be a series of handling decisions later, mainly to punish relevant staff. As for those who responded promptly and performed well in this incident, they will receive some rewards. This incident not only aroused strong repercussions in Xinghua Academy, but also attracted widespread attention from the outside world. When the incident was first reported, Xinghua Academy was ridiculed by other schools. As one of the 4 major schools and the benchmark of Huaki National School, such a vicious incident broke out. Mingdao University, Yanshan University, and Bixun University did not say it explicitly, but also implicitly questioned the strength of Xinghua Academy, secretly saying that we are the first choice for college entrance examination candidates. Of course, these schools did not go too far and did not seize this incident to attack. After all, there were too many casualties, and it was not good to rub salt into the wound at this time. The leadership of Xinghua Academy was very annoyed, but there was nothing they could do. As soon as the decision was made, it immediately attracted a lot of attention. This was a standard treatment, not too harsh, but not light either. When they saw that Lu Jingshan had been shot dead, everyone was shocked. Xinghua Academy was cruel enough. When Kong Dexiao launched the heavenly punishment that day, there was a huge commotion, and the outside world knew it very well. Dean Ma Mings once asked Kong Dexiao afterwards whether it was worth it. Kong Dexiao just waved his hand. Nothing in the world is worth it, it's not that clear. I only know that if the betrayer doesn't have to pay a price, then everyone dares to betray. Today, this traitor is executed to serve as a warning to others. When these words came out, the outside world was horrified. Chapter 135, Battle in the Gravity Room. The Xinghua Academy is dealing with the aftermath of the trial, making compensation to the families of the injured and dead students, and so on. Chen Mou knows about these things, but he still puts more energy into cultivation. For several days, he was immersed in cultivation. Of course, he didn't practice hard in the dormitory all the time, and sometimes he would go to the training ground in the school to train. Let's go to the gravity room. Chen Mou tried several training rooms with different functions, and he was going to the gravity room today. The gravity room, as the name suggests, can change the gravity nearby, allowing people to bear several times the gravity, so as to exercise. This cannot be done with human current technology because it violates the laws of physics. However, Xinghua Academy has realized this idea by rewriting some rules with the help of the law power of the law scholars. The gravity room is in one of the venues of Xinghua Academy. As soon as Chen Mou arrived in front of the venue, he saw people coming and going here, bustling. The students of Xinghua Academy are really diligent in their cultivation, and I can't fall behind. Chen Mou was a little emotional. After applying for a gravity room from the teacher in charge of registration, Chen Mou walked in, closed the door and began to practice. Behind him, a group of students were talking. Isn't that Chen Mou? He has been practicing very hard recently. These freshmen are really hard-working. A sophomore student sighed. This sophomore student is called Haiyan Jue. His strength is not bad, but he is still a little short of the strong ones on the Xinghua list. As soon as Chen Mou entered school, he did a lot of earth-shaking things, such as committing violence in the cafeteria, provoking his hanggang, and escaping from the Black Forest. These deeds caught Haiyan Jue's attention by chance. He could only sigh that the freshmen nowadays are really fierce. It is said that the freshmen of grade 20 are the strongest in the past 10 years, and geniuses have emerged. There are even saints who say that Chu Xiaoxi can enter the Hall of Fame within 10 years. This evaluation is too high. There are many geniuses, and there are also many people who are both talented and extremely hard-working. But to become a saint requires a combination of many factors, and even luck, which involves metaphysics. If a person is sure to become a saint, I don't know how high his talent must be. If this is true, the Chu family will probably have two saints. Knowing that Chen Mou is Chu Xiaoxi's classmate, Haiyan Jue became more interested in him and began to investigate in depth. Haiyan Jue was shocked when he found out that Chen Mou and Chu Xiaoxi had an unclear relationship. In the early days of his high school career, Chen Mou's practical performance was average, but he was very strong in the written test, and he locked the first place in the city and the province many times. Strong in the written test, that is, strong in theory, such a person will not be too bad wherever he goes. If it doesn't work out, he can still do pure scientific research and become a great scientist. Then marry Chu Xiaoxi, and the two will develop slowly. When Chu Xiaoxi becomes a saint, Chen Mou will also make some scientific research breakthroughs. With the prestige of his wife and his own scientific research status, he can have an equal dialogue with a saint. Step by step to the pinnacle of life. Haiyan Jue was very envious. He rose from an ordinary family. This is the template of the protagonist. I thought Chen Mou was not good at practical combat, and doing scientific research was the way out, but after further exploration, he was surprised again. Just before the college entrance examination, Chen Mou's combat ability also improved like a rocket. This speed of improvement can be said to be extremely fantastic, which made Haiyan Jue suspect that Chen Mou was practicing some special skills at the beginning, suppressing his own strength. Once he succeeded, his strength was like a gusher, soaring into the sky. Haiyan Jue was daydreaming when someone nearby heard his words and replied, Chen Mou offended his hanggang, so he must be a little panicked. He has to work hard to improve his strength. But Haiyan Jue didn't think Chen Mou was afraid of his hanggang. That's not the case. I heard that Chen Mou once fell into the Black Forest, but managed to escape. Maybe he has some extraordinary qualities. He's just lucky. Although restricted by the rules, students who come out cannot reveal the situation inside, but it's easy to guess. Even a saint would have a narrow escape when he went in. Is he better than a saint? He is probably too lucky. He hasn't encountered any danger, and he was lucky to find a way out. I don't think his hanggang can beat Chen Mou. Haiyan Jue sneered in his heart. You, his hanggang, are so arrogant. You dare to offend the husband of a future saint. Wait for death? Without dwelling on this question, Haiyan Jue continued to ask, by the way, I came here to practice today. Why are there so many students in this gravity room? The number has more than doubled compared to the last 2 times I came here. They are all here to watch the show. You must have heard of Zhao Wenhe and Liu Nanshan. They are here to fight today. I know that Zhao Wenhe ranks 41st on the Little Star Hua ranking and Liu Nanshan ranks 38th, just one place after his hanggang. It is said that he intends to challenge his hanggang. How did he get into a fight with Zhao Wenhe? And why did the two of them come here to fight? Haiyan Jue was puzzled. Fight in the gravity room? I'm afraid the teacher won't agree. Are you trying to tear down the gravity room? No, this is an alternative fight. The two are not fighting directly with fists and feet, but competing to see who can withstand a higher multiple of gravity. So that's how it is. This way of competition is quite innovative. Hou Yuan's house suddenly realized. No wonder so many people came here to watch. This alternative competition is too novel. Being able to withstand a higher multiple of gravity does not necessarily mean that one is strong, but it can prove that one has great potential. For example, if a person weighs 50 kilograms and can withstand 10 times the gravity, then whose strength is 500 kilograms, which is endurance, and the test is more accurate than lifting a barbell. If another person weighs 100 kilograms and can withstand 8 times the gravity, then whose strength is 800 kilograms. Comparing these two people, the one with 800 kilograms strength is definitely stronger. But in terms of potential, the student with 500 kilograms strength has greater potential because he can withstand 10 times the force. In the gravity room test, it is clear who has stronger strength and who has greater potential. In fact, if the college entrance examination can be tested in this way, it will be more accurate. Unfortunately, it cannot be done. The college entrance examination uses barbell lifting as a test because gravity rooms are too rare. With the conditions of high schools, it is difficult to make one, and there is no way to conduct a unified test across the country. The only option is to settle for the second best and adopt the barbell lifting method. Yonghui City's leading school, Yonghui High School, does not have a gravity room, let alone other schools. If Yonghui High School gritted its teeth and spent a lot of money to invite several law scholars to build a gravity room, then some weaker high schools obviously couldn't follow up. I wonder how many times the gravity Chen Mou can withstand? I heard that his talent and potential are not weak. Hou Yuan's Hao paid attention to Chen Mou again. Someone next to him waved his hand. Don't worry about him. Chen Mou did well in the written test, but his strength is still a little weak. However, he dared to challenge Liu Zhenggang, which is really courageous. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 136, Admitting the Win. Hou Yuan's Hao laughed when he heard what others said, but did not refute. The information of these students was too incomplete. They knew that the other party dared to challenge Liu Zhenggang. Did they know that Chen Mou's strength was not much weaker than his Zhenggang in the cafeteria that day? But it's best that you don't know. It's possible that the person who knows Chen Mou best in Xinghua Academy is me, Hou Yuan's Hao. If there's a chance, I have to establish a connection with Chen Mou and hold his thigh tightly. Hou Yuan's Hao is still relatively clear about his own strength. It will definitely not be a problem for him to cultivate to the peak state of a miracle master in the future, but it will depend on luck to cultivate to law scholar. As for cultivating to saint, that is impossible. His biggest advantage is that he is relatively clear about his own weight. Now there is a chance to hold the thigh of the future saint, no, the future saint's husband, and he must seize it. Hou Yuan's Hao was silently calculating when he heard someone shouting, Liu Nanshan and Zhao Wenhou are here. Liu Nanshan was wearing a loose combat uniform, with short black hair, bright eyes, a burly figure, and walked with vigor. As he walked, he was full of pressure, like a tiger out of the cage, full of murderous aura. Zhao Wenhou followed behind him, walking slowly. He was wearing a blue shirt, and his figure was a little thin, like an ancient scholar. But no one dared to look down on him. He ranked 41st on the Xinghua list, which was very close to his Zhenggang and Liu Nanshan. Fighting also requires on-the-spot performance. As long as he performs well, it is not surprising that he defeated Liu Nanshan and others. The whole audience was paying attention. One after another, eyes were fixed on the two people. A trace of coldness flashed in Liu Nanshan's eyes. Zhao Wenhou, let's compete with each other today. Zhao Wenhou smiled gently, like spring breeze and rain. Liu Nanshan, you can't do it. Although you are a few higher than me on the Xinghua list, your strength is not much different from mine, not to mention that you are a full year older than me. Liu Nanshan's face flushed slightly, and he was slightly defeated in the verbal offensive. Although both of them are sophomores, he is 1 year older than the other, which means he has practiced for 1 more year, but his strength is not much higher. Stop talking nonsense. Who among us has a higher talent? We still have to prove it through tests. What's wrong with me being 1 year older than you? I don't see you calling me Brother Liu. Liu Nanshan snorted. Do you deserve to be called Brother Liu? Zhao Wenhou stepped forward, stop talking nonsense and start the test. Liu Nanshan didn't say much. He and Zhao Wenhou each chose a gravity room and entered the test. It's time to start. Who'll win? The students watching on the side became excited and rushed forward to observe the situation in the gravity room. In front of the door of the gravity room, there is an instrument that displays the gravity multiple. Don't crowd, keep order, I will bring up the pictures inside, and everyone will watch through the screen. A teacher came over and took charge of the situation. Generally speaking, the situation in the gravity room is not public. At most, teachers occasionally pay attention to it to confirm that the students are not in danger. But Liu Nanshan and Zhao Wenhou had already made an appointment for a fight, and after reporting, they agreed to make the situation public. The teacher operated it and immediately brought up the images of the two gravity rooms and projected them onto the big screen. The students craned their necks and stared at the images on the screen. Liu Nanshan entered the gravity room. The gravity here did not change for the time being and was still 1 times the gravity. Then he began to adjust the gravity multiple. 2 times. 3 times. 5 times. 8 times. Liu Nanshan felt the pressure and his body felt a bit heavy. All the organs and cells in his body were pulled by gravity and the load increased greatly. But the increase in gravity did not stop. 10 times. 12 times. Liu Nanshan now weighs about 105 kilograms, more than 200 pounds, but he is not fat and has a burly figure. The reason why he is so heavy is that after training, his body density is high. Being able to withstand 12 times the gravity means a sustained force of 1,260 kilograms, which is considered very strong. Continue. Liu Nanshan gritted his teeth and continued to increase the gravity multiple of the gravity room. A miraculous force burst out of him and strengthened his body. 13 times. 15 times. 18 times. Liu Nanshan's body was under great pressure, his teeth were clenched, and his face was slightly flushed. His strength had now reached 1,890 kilograms. It would continue to increase. Ding! It was detected that the tester was about to reach his limit, and the speed of gravity increase would be slowed down. A cold machine sound came from the gravity room 18.1 times 18.2 times, 18.5 times, 18.9 times. Liu Nanshan looked painful, and under great pressure, veins appeared on his forehead. After 10 seconds, the gravity multiple began to fall back and gradually stabilized at 17 times. This was the result of the comprehensive analysis and detection by the machine. Under this gravity multiple, the effect of cultivation is better. The higher the multiple, the better. If it is too high, it will be difficult to bear for a long time and will only cause damage to the body. Liu Nanshan exhaled lightly, and his test was over. The peak gravity multiple that can be tolerated is 18.9 times, and the long-term gravity multiple that can be tolerated is 17 times. After lowering the gravity multiple to 1, Liu Nanshan stepped out. Let's see how strong you are, Zhao Wenhou. Liu Nanshan felt that he was okay. He could hold on for 10 seconds at a multiple of 18.9. Zhao Wenhou's figure was clearly shown on a display screen in the hall. Zhao Wenhou hadn't come out yet, and the gravity multiple on that display screen was rising all the way 18 times 19 times 19.2 times 19.5 times. Finally it settled at 19.8 times. 10 seconds later, the gravity multiple fell back and stabilized at 18 times. Liu Nanshan's face looked ugly. The opponent was just a little bit stronger than him. Zhao Wenhou was slightly lighter than Liu Nanshan. Although the multiple was higher, his strength was actually not as good as Liu Nanshan's. This was also the reason why Liu Nanshan was ranked higher than Zhao Wenhou. But in terms of potential and talent, Zhao Wenhou was indeed stronger. The door opened, Zhao Wenhou walked out in high spirits, looked at Liu Nanshan, and said proudly, "How is it?" He didn't see Liu Nanshan's test value, but Zhao Wenhou was absolutely confident in himself. And Liu Nanshan's ugly face also proved his guess. "You won, I admit defeat." Liu Nanshan left a word and turned away. Win is win, lose is lose, the value is here, there is no dispute. Saying more will make everyone look down on him. But today's face is lost, Liu Nanshan is a little depressed. Am I really not as good as him? Haha, dare to challenge me, you are really overestimating your own ability. I am still young, sooner or later I will catch up and sweep you. Zhao Wenhou slowly left in the surprised eyes of everyone. Hou Yuan's house eyes also flashed with admiration. This young man's potential is indeed very strong. I wonder what Chen Mou's value is. Hou Yuan's Hao remembered that Chen Mou went into practice and had not come out yet. Chapter 137 The tiger's body trembles, and I bow down. After Zhao Wenhu left, everyone was still immersed in amazement. Being able to withstand such a high multiple of gravity, although it cannot fully reflect the potential, at least it can prove that Zhao Wenhu's body is very tough. Every organ in his body has a strong pressure resistance and strong strength. I heard that Zhao Wenhu is still very young. Although he is a sophomore, he is only 18 years old this year. When he was a child, he went to elementary school a year earlier. Liu Nanshan is 1 year older than him, not because Liu Nanshan is older, but because Zhao Wenhu is younger. Everyone was shocked. Doesn't it mean that he is about the same age as the freshman of this year? Although Zhao Wenhu performed well, he was only ranked 41st on the Xiaoxinghu list. Although he is talented, it is still within the acceptable range. But many people only found out today that Zhao Wenhu is so young, equivalent to the age of a freshman. It is too amazing that he can enter the Xiaoxinghu list at this age. If he practices for 1 more year, can he challenge the geniuses in the top 10 of the Xiaoxinghu list? Someone suddenly said something, and the scene fell silent. It is very likely. But this is just a hypothesis and will never come true. It is impossible for the top 10 to not practice for a year, so they stopped and waited. Hou Yuan's Hao also exclaimed a few times, amazed by Zhao Wenhu's talent, but he was more concerned about Chen Mou's situation. He immediately slipped in front of the teacher on duty and said respectfully, "Hello, teacher, I have something to do, and I want to find classmate Chen Mou. May I ask which gravity room he is in?" Looking for someone is a very common thing. Although it is unclear why this person did not call directly, the teacher on duty did not doubt him and searched on the machine. Chen Mou is in gravity room 106. "Thank you, teacher." Hou Yuan's Hao thanked him and walked towards the direction of room 106. Walking to the door lightly, Hou Yuan's Hao's eyes fixed. In front of gravity room 106, there is an instrument hanging, which clearly displays the multiples inside. 17.8 times. Hou Yuan's Hao nodded. It seems that he is only a little bit behind Zhao Wenhu. Zhao Wenhu's peak is 19.8 times, but it drops back to 18 times after 10 seconds. Chen Mou has been inside for such a long time, and he has been able to maintain a stable gravity of 17.8 times. Using this gravity to train his body is enough to prove his talent. The difference between the two is only 0.2. But soon Hou Yuan's Hao's face changed. Wait, something seems wrong. Zhao Wenhu is fighting with Liu Nanshan, so he used the miracle power to strengthen his body. But when we are training normally, we just use the strength of our body to resist, and we don't use the miracle power, because the effect of training will be worse. Then, Chen Mou didn't fight with others, so there is naturally no need to use the miracle power. So he can withstand 17.8 times the gravity purely by relying on the strength of his body. If he uses the miracle power, can't he withstand more than 20 times the gravity? Hou Yuan's Hao almost jumped up in shock. He wanted to call up the scene inside to see if Chen Mou used the miracle power. But he was not a teacher, so he naturally didn't have the authority. He carefully sensed it from the side, but because of the isolation effect of the gravity room, it was difficult to sense the situation inside. He used the power of miracle, he didn't. He used the power of miracle, he didn't use the power of miracle. He used the power of miracle, he didn't use the power of miracle. Hou Yuan's Hao paced back and forth in front of the door. He definitely didn't use the power of miracle. Hou Yuan's Hao said in a low voice. He glanced around and saw that no one noticed him. Hou Yuan's Hao was relieved and pretended to leave as if nothing had happened. He didn't want to attract other people's attention. It would be better if everyone didn't know how powerful Chen Mou was. No wonder Chu Xiaoxi had a special liking for Chen Mou, because they were originally the same kind of people. Both of them were monsters. Although Zhao Wenhu was talented, he was still a little worse than these two people. Hou Yuan's Hao was excited. Maybe Chen Mou could become a saint in the future. He must seize the opportunity. He strolled outside the entrance of the hall and waited. This wait lasted for more than 2 hours. Chen Mou pushed open the door of the gravity room and walked out. Practicing in the gravity room was indeed very effective. Although he was a little tired, he could clearly feel that his body had become more resilient. His body density has increased slightly compared to the time of the college entrance examination. His weight has also increased from 88 kilograms to 93 kilograms. However, he is still well proportioned, with strong and solid muscles, like steel. I wonder how my current strength compares to Chu's Ioxes. Chen Mou secretly calculated that if he wanted to solve the hidden dangers of Chu's Ioxe in the future, he must have enough strength. My current realm is much higher than that of the college entrance examination, and my strength has also increased significantly. Once the miracle power and the magic dragon blood burning technique are used, Chu's Ioxe will not be my opponent with the strength he showed at that time. But Suzaku seems to have begun the process of awakening, and Chu's Ioxe's strength will definitely increase accordingly. We can't look at it with the eyes of that time. Chen Mou felt very tricky in his heart. His strength has indeed increased, but Chu's Ioxe will not stand still. Don't be too anxious. There is still some time before Suzaku fully awakens. To fight against such a supreme being, you must think of a foolproof plan and succeed in one blow. Chen Mou will also be a supreme being in the future, on par with Suzaku, but now he only has memories, not power. The Suzaku is a reincarnated body, hiding the great power of the previous life. Although it is certainly not as powerful as the heyday, it should not be underestimated. Chen Mou was thinking about something. Just as he walked out of the hall, he saw a man rushing up. "Hello, are you Chen Mou?" the man asked. Chen Mou was stunned. "Yes, what do you want to see me for?" "My name is Hou Yuanzhao. Do you need a younger brother?" Hou Yuanzhao put on what he thought was the brightest smile. "You want to introduce me to a younger brother?" Chen Mou didn't quite understand the other party's idea. Does Xinghua Academy still have such a business? Hou Yuanzhao patted his chest. "No, how about I be your younger brother?" Chen Mou's body was shocked, thinking that he exuded a kingly and domineering aura, attracting passers-by to bow down. But soon he became alert in his heart. If you are too attentive without any reason, you are either a traitor or a thief. And this thing called a younger brother is not a good thing. During Chen Mou's school years, he was sometimes really bored, and he also read a few novels. In the novels, the younger brothers that the protagonists took in were generally not very useful. The protagonist is fighting to the death in the front, and the younger brother can only cheer and support from the back. Because the younger brother's strength is average, he will be killed instantly if he goes forward. Sometimes the younger brother gets into trouble, and the protagonist has to help solve it. In general, he is a burden. Chen Mou doesn't like creatures like younger brothers. How nice is it to be a lone ranger? I can beat whoever I want to beat, and I can beat whoever I don't like. If I can't beat you, I will beat your younger brother, but if you want to beat my younger brother, sorry, I can't. With Chen Mou's current strength, he is not afraid of being besieged by the opponent's younger brothers. No matter how much garbage comes, it is still garbage. Chapter 138 Class. Hou Yuanzhao had no idea that he had been classified as trash. He raised his head and said, "Boss, don't worry. I will never charge you for being your younger brother. I will work hard without complaint. If you tell me to go east, I will never go west. If you tell me to beat a dog, I will never chase a chicken." So good. Chen Mou was puzzled. What benefit do you want? I just hope that when you become successful in the future, you can give me some advice. Chen Mou was even more confused when he heard it. This person didn't seem to be very smart. He was vying to be someone's younger brother just for future support. There are some particularities in giving advice. There is no clear standard. Giving you a few thousand yuan is also a tip, and giving you a peerless martial arts method is also a tip. It all depends on Chen Mou's mood. The initiative is in Chen Mou's hands. Could it be that this person came back from a time travel and knew that he would ascend to the supreme position in the future, so he invested in advance? Otherwise, Chen Mou couldn't understand why someone would want to be his younger brother when he was born in an ordinary family and was an ordinary person. Chen Mou was a little bit surprised and doubtful. He was furious and ready to attack. The creatures of time travelers must be killed. Hou Yuanzhao was stared at by Chen Mou. As expected of a future saint, his eyes were terrifying and majestic. Chen Mou tried to control his impulse to attack. He said not interested and left. Hou Yuanzhao sighed. It seems that being too direct is not good. Chen Mou is too suspicious. But it is also true that anyone who faces a person who wants to recognize him as the boss for no reason will feel too weird. We have to think of a solution from other aspects. Hou Yuanzhao pondered for a moment and prepared to go back to think about countermeasures. After Chen Mou had dinner, he just returned to the dormitory and opened the door. He saw sword lights entangled everywhere, and the sword energy rose and fell like a dragon, filling the room with a chill. He was so shocked that he took a few steps back. What's going on? Don't tear down the dormitory. Su Dao put away his sword, and the dormitory hall returned to peace. I was just thinking about his sword move, and I was a little obsessed with it. It's not a big problem. By the way, remember to go to class tomorrow. Su Dao reminded him and walked towards his room. He was always cold and didn't say much. Is it time for class tomorrow? Chen Mou just remembered about the class. The next morning, Chen Mou came to the teaching building and sat down in a random seat in the classroom. Students arrived one after another, and Chen Mou saw Su Dao, Wang Jun's, He's Haij, Song Lin and others. Lin Chuanzuo's figure appeared from the gate. When she saw Chen Mou, she waved her white palm and found a seat to sit down. A gray-haired old man walked up to the podium. His face was square and his steps were powerful, giving people a sense of calmness and toughness. The old man slapped the podium, startling the students below, and they couldn't help but sit up straight. He looked around and nodded with satisfaction. Hello, students. I am your teacher Qi Jianming. The students this year are very energetic. You are the best students I have ever taught. After receiving the praise, many students showed excitement on their faces and sat up straighter. Some students did not take it seriously. They had investigated relevant information before coming to class. This teacher said the same thing every year. Qi Jianming ignored the reactions of the crowd and continued, seeing your high spirits and hard working, I am very excited. I feel that there is hope for the country and the nation. There is no mediocre person who can be admitted to Xinghua Academy. You are still very young and have unlimited possibilities. I hope you can study hard and practice hard. The future of Huaqi country will be shouldered by you. Qi Jianming's words made the students' blood boil. Even the students who did not take it seriously at first were a little excited and felt a heavy sense of mission. Everyone was excited when they heard Qi Jianming sigh suddenly, and their hearts sank. Today's Huaqi is an incomparably powerful Huaqi. Each saint is like a giant pillar, supporting the sky of Huaqi. Technology is also advancing by leaps and bounds. We are challenging the starry sky, but beneath the powerful surface, extreme danger lurks. Qi Jianming said, and remained silent. Immediately, a student couldn't help asking, Teacher, what's the danger? Qi Jianming slammed the table again and said, Of course it's those damn aliens. The existence of aliens is kept secret from the public, in order not to cause panic. Don't pass on what I said today, otherwise I will be held accountable. Many of you have extraordinary families, and you must have heard of aliens. A long time ago, we used some devices to send signals to space, but this did not attract a friendly and lawful civilization, but an extremely evil existence. 100 years ago, this civilization invaded us. At first, it was just slowly testing the waters, and now the scale of the battle is getting bigger and bigger. I estimate that the day of a full-scale decisive battle is not far away. He's Haij couldn't help raising his hand. Teacher, I heard about this from my family. The situation ahead is not optimistic. I want to ask, what do the aliens like about us? They would rather spend a huge price to invade. This is a very good question. There must be a motive for doing anything. I think the motives of alien civilizations are mainly based on two aspects. The first is that after many years of development, our Zijixing civilization has transformed many planets in the Jinwu galaxy and turned them into habitable places. The alien civilization must be coveting them. If they win, they can naturally take over easily. The second is that after so many years of development, our Zijixing civilization has achieved many results in both scientific research and cultivation. If this alien civilization can win, it will swallow up all these results, learn from each other's strengths and make up for its own shortcomings. It will definitely usher in a rapid breakthrough in the next period of time, and may be able to evolve the entire civilization level. Then if we win, can't we also swallow it in turn? Song Lin's eyes lit up. Qi Jianming laughed. The idea is good, but the other party's technology is better than ours, and they have mastered advanced space jump technology, while our jump technology is still slightly backward, which means that it is more convenient for them to invade, but it is difficult for us to counterattack. Now we are in a situation of being beaten. Song Lin's heart sank when he heard this. Sure enough, he thought too beautifully. Another student asked, It seems that the situation is indeed difficult. Why don't other countries take action and join forces to fight against the alien forces? Qi Jianming said, Of course other countries have taken action. After all, they are also part of the Jinwu galaxy. Otherwise, our Huaqi country would have been defeated long ago. But these countries have a lot of their own little calculations, so we must not pin all our hopes on them. Teacher, you have said so much, but I still don't know the name of this alien civilization. This civilization is code-named Qingyang Domain. Chapter 139, Distracted in Class. Qi Jianming began to give a lecture. The content of the lecture was the development of human civilization, interstellar strategy, etc., and the content was very detailed. Humans have been exploring the starry sky for hundreds of years, and have transformed many planets in the Chen Mou galaxy to make them habitable planets. The territories of various countries are constantly expanding, radiating from the purple pole star to divide the ownership of the planets. After talking about these overall perception parts, Qi Jianming began to talk about some content about spacecraft control, manufacturing and repair, spacecraft energy systems, etc. As expected of a teacher from Tsinghua Academy, Qi Jianming's level is very high. Qi Jianming's explanation is in-depth and clear, which makes these students feel like they have opened their eyes. Chen Mou, however, felt a little drowsy after listening to it. Qi Jianming's level is not low, but he knows all these contents. In the future memory, I can handle these things easily. I have not only studied the theory, but also carried out practical operations. It feels like a college student returning to elementary school to listen to a class. Student, did you not rest well last night? Qi Jianming noticed Chen Mou out of the corner of his eye and frowned. Teacher, I'm sorry. Chen Mou shuddered. I was a little distracted just now. Although he was very familiar with the knowledge, it was obviously disrespectful to the teacher to be distracted like this. Qi Jianming said, It's okay, it seems that there is still a problem with my lectures, and I can't attract students. He frowned deeper and thought. It seems that I have to improve my teaching methods in the future. It's less interesting to read from the textbook. Chen Mou was a little embarrassed. His drowsy appearance in class seemed to have affected the teacher. This is not good. Otherwise, I can just skip class next time. Chen Mou thought this was a good idea. One by one, eyes were focused on Chen Mou. Some were curious, some were a little contemptuous. Some were excited to watch a show. I hope the world will not be in chaos. A student named Suyun glared at Chen Mou and laughed. The teacher's lectures are very lively. There is no need to change his teaching methods for such a lazy student. I think the student's grades are not very good and he doesn't listen to the class very well. Chen Mou was immediately unhappy when he heard this. Good boy, you are so sophisticated to flatter the teacher by stepping on me. If it were in other occasions, I would have to teach him a lesson, but today I have to give face to Teacher Qi and bear with you for now. Qi Jianming waved his hand. That's not the case. I believe that all students who come here love to learn. This student must also be passionate about learning. Okay, let's continue the class. Qi Jianming didn't dwell on this matter and continued to talk about the power system of the spacecraft. In the early days, we wanted to use nuclear energy to support the flight of the spacecraft, but later we found that the efficiency of nuclear reactions was still not enough. This requires the use of a higher energy source, antimatter. Antimatter itself does not have much energy, but when positive and antimatter meet, they will annihilate each other and completely transform into energy. This energy is huge, but the production price of antimatter is sky high. In the early days, antimatter was produced by accelerating particles to hit fixed targets to produce antiparticles, and then decelerating them to synthesize. This method was extremely inefficient and the price was extremely high. We couldn't afford the price at all. Later, after continuous improvement of the production process, we finally controlled the price within a barely acceptable range, but it was still very expensive. Qi Jianming began to talk about the latest production technology research process. On the giant screen of the podium, pictures and formulas appeared one after another, dazzling people. Many students have begun to take notes. Chen Mou began to listen to the class seriously, but he had no intention of taking notes. Making antimatter is my specialty. In the future, I will make an antimatter planet as a trump card. He looked uninterested, which made Suyun beside him look contemptuous. This student seemed to be planning to spend his days here. Even if he didn't learn any skills, he would get a diploma from Tsinghua Academy when he went out, and some big companies would rush to buy it. Qi Jianming continued to lecture. Although the current production cost is barely acceptable, it is still very high. If we can make further progress, our journey to the starry sky will take another leap. Moreover, antimatter can not only be used to power spacecraft, but also to power mechas and other aspects. It is also very good, but unfortunately the cost is limited. Recently, I have been focusing on the optimization of the antimatter production process. This year's college entrance examination also has a question about antimatter. I am one of the members of the question setting team. I added this question. As soon as Qi Jianming finished speaking, he saw many students with complicated expressions. His heart skipped a beat. This was bad. This didn't seem to be a glorious thing. This question was too difficult. He was complained by many students on the microforum. He forced himself to calm down and continued calmly. Speaking of which, you students are really creative. Your ideas are wild and unconstrained. They are worth encouraging. They are worth encouraging. The answer I appreciate most is this. You can take a look. Qi Jianming's voice fell, and the picture on the big screen changed, showing a long paragraph and a bunch of formulas. A trace of confusion flashed in Chen Mou's eyes. This answer is quite similar to what I wrote that day. At that time, in order not to reveal too much, I deliberately answered vaguely. In many places, I only talked about the idea and didn't explain it in detail. The students in the audience felt a little bit impressed. Looking at the pile of formulas, they felt that they were good at it. It was much better than what they wrote. They are all college entrance examination candidates. Why is the gap so big? Su Yunun began to take notes, and looked at Chen Mou with contempt. With your lazy look, I'm afraid you will never catch up with the great god who wrote this answer in your lifetime. Chen Mou really wanted to jump up and beat him up. This kid is really unbearable. You take notes, so take notes. What are you looking at me for? But in order to give face to Teacher Qi, I will tolerate you for a while. Chen Mou stared back coldly, and an invisible power was revealed, which made Su Yunun's pupils shrink and his momentum weakened by 3 points. Su Yunun snorted, a little dissatisfied with his performance just now. He was too cowardly. The student opposite was brave and aggressive. It was probably because of his high practical performance that he was admitted to Xinghe Academy. As for the written test, it was probably shit. Su Yunun did not continue to provoke Chen Mou. He listened to the class carefully and maintained his image as a good student. Qi Jianming's words continued to come. After reading it, what do you think of this answer? Can you understand it? I personally think this idea is very good and feasible. The only shortcoming is that it is still a little vague in the details and has not been explored too deeply. But it is beyond my expectation that a college entrance examination candidate can achieve this level. The person who wrote this answer is the top scorer of this year's written test. The title of top scorer is well deserved. Chapter 140 Shocking everyone. Chen Mou was stunned when he heard this. Did he really write this answer? No wonder it looked familiar. Because I wrote it casually at that time, I didn't take it seriously, so I didn't remember it very well. I was caught distracted just now, but I didn't expect to be praised again. Chen Mou felt a little ashamed and sat up a little straighter. Su Yunun couldn't help but glance over again. This kid just got caught and now he pretends to be diligent. I really despise such people. What he didn't notice was that when Qi Jianming mentioned the top scorer in the written test, several eyes in the class fell on Chen Mou. Qi Jianming continued on the podium. This top scorer in the college entrance examination is called Chen Mou. I looked at the class arrangement and he happens to be in our class 5. I wonder which classmate he is? Can you stand up and let everyone know him? Chen Mou was not happy to be praised, but a little embarrassed. Su Yunun was refreshed and raised his head to see who this legendary god was. It is said that this person treated the unprecedentedly difficult college entrance examination papers as nothing and easily killed them in seconds. After the college entrance examination results came out, it was revealed that only 1 point was deducted. Who would have thought that this person was in the same class as himself? Su Dao, Wang Jun's, and Izhaj cast their eyes over. As roommates, they knew Chen Mou's record very well. There were some other students in the class who had also paid attention to the relevant news, and their eyes were all focused on Chen Mou. Lin Chuanzhou tilted her head and felt a little strange. Why were everyone looking at Chen Mou? In the Black Forest, the two of them knew each other, but in her heart, she had not yet acquainted Chen Mou with the top scorer in the college entrance examination. Wait, what was the name of the top scorer in the college entrance examination that Teacher Qi mentioned just now? Chen Mou slowly stood up in the eyes of everyone, showing an awkward but polite smile. Su Yunun was stunned. The teacher called Chen Mou to stand up. Why did you stand up? Chen Mou glanced at him. My name is Chen Mou. Su Yunun. He was a little skeptical about life. Qi Jianming was also stunned. but quickly reacted, "It seems that this is Chen Mou. We all know that it is too difficult to improve the production process of antimatter. Now many scientists are working hard to explore it. Can you share your ideas with everyone? It's like this. When positive and antimatter contact and annihilate, the mass is converted into energy. Then can energy also be converted and separated into positive and antimatter? But this process is easy to follow, but it is difficult to reverse it. My idea of improvement is this." Chen Mou got into the state when he spoke, revealing some more in-depth ideas, and he talked endlessly. What he said was still reserved. The actual preparation process was extremely complicated and could not be explained in a few words. But Qi Jianming was very excited when he heard it, and his eyes lit up. Originally, Chen Mou's college entrance examination answer sheet could only be said to be very thoughtful and gave him some inspiration. But it was just some inspiration, and it didn't help much for technological breakthroughs. Now what Chen Mou said is much more in-depth and involves a lot of details. Qi Jianming nodded frequently and asked questions from time to time. He felt that many of his doubts had been solved. Other students. What are they talking about? I don't understand. Qi Jianming wanted to ask more questions, but Chen Mou stopped and said that he hadn't studied more in-depth things yet. Qi Jianming felt a little regretful, but it was normal. He was the first one who didn't believe that a student could easily solve this problem that had troubled Huiki country for many years. However, Chen Mou's story today opened a new door for him and found a new direction. If there is a breakthrough in the production of antimatter, Huiki country can effectively solve the problem of spacecraft energy supply, and there will probably be a lot of progress in space jump, so that Huiki country can get rid of the situation of being beaten by alien civilizations. And that kind of mecha also needs to be powered by antimatter. Nuclear energy reactions require too many devices, which are too bulky for mecha. Antimatter, I must break through the production process of antimatter. Qi Jianming became more and more excited as he thought about it. It happened that it was almost time to get out of class, so he immediately announced the end of school. He turned around and rushed out of the door like a whirlwind, heading towards his research room. While running, he remembered something and took out his mobile phone to make a call. The beeping sound lasted for a long time, and the phone was finally connected. A steady and powerful voice came out. "Old Qi, what's the matter? Why did you think of calling me?" "Principal, I may not have time to continue teaching this year. Can you arrange for a teacher to take over the class I am teaching now?" Qi Jianming's voice was very urgent, and he said while running. "Why do you suddenly want to stop teaching? You are the business backbone of our school and are rated as an excellent teacher every year." The voice on the other side was a little puzzled. Qi Jianming was still a very stable person. He was old and had a lot of experience in the school. The students he taught had very solid theoretical knowledge. Although Qi Jianming had gray hair, he was very strong. He crossed a long distance and arrived at the door of the research room in an instant. He pushed the door and walked in. His face was not red and he was not out of breath. He smiled confidently and said, "Because I have an epic-making scientific research project to do now. When I succeed, I will treat you to drink." After saying that, he hung up the phone with a beep. Seeing the teacher leave, the students in class 5 also dispersed. Many people looked at Chen Mou with surprise before leaving. Although they didn't quite understand Chen Mou's discussion on antimatter, they could clearly sense that it was unusual. Even teacher Qi Jianming was amazed at Chen Mou's theory and kept asking for details. That attitude was not that of a teacher testing a student, but rather that of asking for advice. Originally, they had no idea that Chen Mou had won the top spot on the written exam. They were just wondering why he could get such a high score when the exam questions were so difficult this year. Now they feel that there is no false reputation. Lin Chuanzhuo blinked his eyes. It turned out that Chen Mou was so powerful. No wonder his sister valued him more that day. Among these people, the most depressed was Su Yunyan. He was slapped in the face. At first, he said that Chen Mou's grades were not very good, but he didn't expect that he was the top scorer in the college entrance examination. Chen Mou didn't think too much and walked out of the classroom. The theoretical courses of Xinghua Academy are not very intensive, and sometimes there are no classes for 2 or 3 days. Chen Mou went to the gravity room to practice again. Under heavy pressure, the quality of his body was slowly improving. Muscles, fascia, and organs are all pulled by gravity, which is a more comprehensive exercise than pure weightlifting. Chen Mou's middle stage of the miracle apprentice has been completely stabilized, and he is slowly moving towards the high stage. On the evening of October 1st, Chen Mou came back from exercise and took a shower in the dormitory. Suddenly he remembered that he had not yet withdrawn his royalties. He basically did not update the novel in September, so he probably didn't get much money, but even a mosquito is meat. He happily opened the Xuan's Exchange website. Chapter 141, Blowing the Horn of Counterattack. Chen Mou excitedly opened the Xuan's Exchange website and jumped to the personal center. The update volume last month was too small, and it was estimated that there would not be many clicks and good votes. However, some of the chapters updated before should also have new netizens visiting, which could contribute more or less. After opening the settlement interface, he narrowed his eyes slightly, feeling that things were not simple. The advertising fee share value for September was a big zero, which was very glaring. Where is my advertising fee? Unscrupulous exchange network? It swallowed it for me. It was definitely less. Chen Mou was mentally prepared for this, and even a few thousand yuan was acceptable, but the current situation was that there was no money at all. He calmed down and recalled the website's regulations. The extreme situation of not getting a penny is difficult to occur, because clicks will be counted, and it is impossible that there are no clicks at all. There is only one situation, that is, there are too many negative reviews, resulting in more money deducted than earned. So Chen Mou's value should be negative. But the Xuan's Exchange network cannot deduct the author's money, so it can only be displayed as zero. After thinking this through, Chen Mou was very depressed. There are so many negative reviews. Is it that my writing is so bad? Maybe I don't have the talent to write novels. He browsed through his articles and found that the number of negative reviews last month was very high. Not only the novels, but even those analytical articles, each of them had more than 1,000 negative votes. Chen Mou was a little worried. Not only the novels, but also these articles had a lot of negative votes. No wonder I didn't make a penny. He suspected that he updated too little, which aroused the disgust of netizens, and that's why he got so many negative votes. But it's impossible to think about it, it's not reasonable. There may be more negative votes, but not to this extent. Looking at the comment area again, Chen Mou finally understood that it was a netizen named Gray Man who gave him negative votes. Since September, Chen Mou's book review area has been very lively. Many netizens who have not read Chen Mou's articles have come to watch. Seeing that one has not responded, netizens feel that he is scared. Gray Man's younger brothers are even more complacent, and they attack Red Moon Empire in the book review area. But the book Red Moon Empire also has many fans. For a while, the two sides tore each other apart, and the situation was tragic. In general, Gray Young Master's younger brothers still have the upper hand. Gray Young Master has led them for many years and has strong combat effectiveness. The book Red Moon Empire has not been serialized for a long time, so naturally the fans can't say that they have much cohesion and can only barely support it. Chen Mou found that a netizen named Haiyan Jue has the strongest combat effectiveness. That person also wrote a long article, angrily denouncing the bad behavior of Gray Young Master and calling on the readers of Red Moon Empire to unite and fight this evil to the end. Haiyan Jue said that he highly praised the dog-headed military advisor, which moved Chen Mou a little. He wrote Red Moon Empire just to make some money, but he didn't expect to be recognized by many readers. Because the dog-headed military advisor was slow to express his position, his fans gradually collapsed under the offensive of the other side. A large number of people who eat melons were disappointed. They thought it was a fight between dragons and tigers, but they didn't expect it to end in this way. Generally speaking, as long as the dog-headed military advisor does not show any intention of confrontation and admits a little weakness, the Gray Young Master will stop pursuing him next month. After all, Gray Young Master's negative reviews also cost money. The fans of the dog-headed military advisor felt frustrated and went offline one after another, turning a blind eye. If ordinary people were to encounter such a situation of malicious negative reviews, they would definitely be angry. But Chen Mou was very calm. It was just a clown's performance, how could he be so angry? But even if he didn't care, he still had to respond. After thinking about it, he published an article on his personal homepage and the book review section of Red Moon Empire, bluntly saying that the other party was a broken-backed dog who bullied the weak and feared the strong. With a snort, Chen Mou spent another 2 hours writing a novel of 30,000 words and uploaded it. He closed the web page and began to practice. Chen Mou was practicing and no longer paid attention to things on the internet, but his response on the internet slowly fermented. Originally, after so many days, This incident had completely subsided and was basically not popular. But as soon as this response came out, it was like dropping a bomb into a lake, splashing water everywhere. One person spread the word, 10 spread the word, and a chain reaction occurred, and the heat rose again. Fuck, this is a ruthless person. Things had originally calmed down, but suddenly he scolded Grey Young Master at this time. Is he going to start an all-out war? The crowd began to watch. Come and watch, there's something interesting to watch. Well said, I've long disliked Grey Young Master. He is not just a dog with a broken spine, without any dignity and bearing. Look at him for so many years, has he dared to provoke the law scholar? He can be crushed to death with just one hand. He only dares to show off his power to ordinary people. Many people dislike Grey Young Master. I think this is a bit irrational. The number of negative reviews last month will not affect this month. Things had originally calmed down. If this happens, Grey Young Master will definitely come here to give negative reviews again. Grey Young Master's younger brothers also noticed the response of the dog-headed military advisor and immediately ran to inform the boss. But they didn't have the contact information of Grey Young Master in real life, so they could only notify him through private messages on the website. These people were eager to fight, waiting for Grey Young Master to lead them to do something big. After half a day, Grey Young Master finally came online. As soon as he logged in, he noticed that his private messages were about to explode, with all kinds of 99+. After looking at it for a long time, he finally figured out what was going on, and immediately slammed the table. Okay, you still dare to resist? Wait for me to give you a few more negative votes. He opened them all and bought 50,000 negative votes again, all of which were voted for Red Moon Empire. At the same time, he called on his younger brothers to follow his footsteps and give all the negative votes this month to dog-headed military advisor. Grey Young Master has about 200 or 300 younger brothers, but only dozens of them are online now. After hearing this, they took action and voted out the few negative votes they automatically obtained every month. The negative reviews of the book Red Moon Empire climbed to more than 50,000 at the beginning of the month. It was a spectacle. Grey Young Master responded. The readers of Red Moon Empire were also cheered up when they saw the response article by dog-headed military advisor. They had been confronting Grey Young Master last month, but since dog-headed military advisor had remained silent, they felt that it was meaningless to take action, so they all gave up. Now that dog-headed military advisor fired the first shot, and with the addition of 30,000 words of the plot, they also voted for the favorable comments in their hands. The number of these readers is much larger than that of Grey Young Master's younger brothers. Each person cast a few votes, and before long the number of favorable comments reached more than 10,000, and it is still rising slowly. Chapter 142, The Battle of Voting. Xinhua Academy has fewer courses and is more flexible. Sometimes there is one theoretical class a day, and sometimes one class every 2 days. In general, this amount of courses is very small. But if students want to learn more, there are many ways. This one-day class is a compulsory course, which generally requires the whole class to be present, and sometimes students from other classes will take the class together. If students want to expand their learning, they can also choose elective courses. These elective courses not only include scientific and technological theory learning, but also some training theory and practical teaching. The level of the teachers of elective courses is not lower than that of the teachers of compulsory courses. And there is a lot of freedom in electives, and there are no requirements. If you want to choose, just sign up on the academic affairs system. If you don't want to choose, you can also sleep in the dormitory. The teaching philosophy pursued by Xinhua Academy is to let students make choices. For those who are motivated, there is a large group of highly qualified teachers on campus, and one teaching building after another, such as the gravity room, combat training room, mecha control field, etc., can definitely meet the needs of students. For students who are not motivated, they are allowed to study or not. As long as they reach the middle stage of Miracle Apprentice in the last semester of their senior year, it will be fine. This requirement is just to keep the last bit of Xinhua Academy's reputation. Otherwise, if Xinhua Academy produces a large number of waste, it will be a shame. Reaching the middle stage of Miracle Apprentice can make companies from outside who come to recruit people reluctantly accept it. And this requirement is not simple. Although many freshmen are only at the beginner level when they enter school, they are not far from the level of Miracle Apprentice. After 4 years of study in college, They still can't reach the middle stage of miracle apprentice. How lazy are they? However, students of Xinghua Academy generally choose as many courses as possible according to their own arrangements. There are very few students who are not motivated. But Chen Mou has recently shown signs of becoming a representative of students who are not motivated. Not only did he not choose elective courses, but he also skipped compulsory courses after taking them a few times. If he hadn't practiced in the gravity room, free training room and other places, he would have been classified as a poor student. But even so, Chen Mou's behavior is quite confusing. Why haven't you been to class recently? In the dormitory, Wang Jun's looked at Chen Mou with a puzzled look. Children of aristocratic families like him know the importance of learning. If his cultivation is still ordinary after graduation, he can only go back to inherit billions of family assets. Ahem, no, inherit a company with a value of billions. This is not good news for him. After all, running a company can be done by some clansmen who are not doing well. He only needs to cultivate to a high level and support the fortune of the clan. I have a problem. I feel sleepy when I listen to the class. There is really no way. Chen Mou made an excuse. He couldn't say that he felt that what the teacher said was very unoriginal and he knew it all. In fact, Chen Mou didn't skip classes on purpose, but he felt that his time was precious and couldn't be wasted. He needed to use it more meaningfully. After all, the scene of the future spurred him on. He had to work harder to change his destiny. Wang Jun's was surprised and didn't know what to say. There are still people who feel sleepy when they listen to the class? Maybe there are such students in lesser schools, but this is Xinghua Academy. Then, Wang Jun's considered his words, you also felt sleepy every day in high school. Yes. Chen Mou could only nod. Wang Jun's. Nothing to say, such a person, and got the top score in the written test? This must be a god of learning. I can only say why the gap between people is so big. He worked very hard, but he was only at an upper middle level. Wang Jun's did not doubt Chen Mou's words. After all, he saw Chen Mou slacking off in the first class. Chen Mou spent several days in cultivation, and updated the 30,000-word novel when he returned to the dormitory at night. In fact, Chen Mou wanted to set a rule for adding more chapters at the beginning, that is, if there are a lot of good votes, he would add 10,000 words. But he gave up after thinking about it. If it is well written, people will naturally vote. The war on the Zhuan's exchange website is getting more and more intense, attracting attention from many parties. On October 1st, Grey Man gave Red Moon Empire 50,000 bad votes. The book Friends of Red Moon Empire also gathered together and gave more than 10,000 favorable comments. Finally, before midnight that night, the number of votes exceeded 20,000. A netizen named KZI Unlay suddenly gave 30,000 favorable comments. Together with the favorable comments from other netizens, the negative comments of Grey Young Master were completely offset. Grey Young Master was quite proud at first, but he didn't expect that the negative comments were completely offset the next day. This was a bit beyond Grey Young Master's expectations. Thinking back to the articles of Dog-Headed Military Advisor, there were only more than 20,000 favorable comments in the whole month of August. Now there are 50,000 favorable comments a day. Even if KZI Unlay is excluded, there are still more than 20,000 favorable comments. Grey Young Master originally thought that Dog-Headed Military Advisor was easy to bully, so he dared to give negative comments, but the opponent really rebounded and was a bit cruel. I'll give you another 50,000 negative comments. Grey Young Master sneered, I want to see how much fighting power you have. I clicked on the official store and bought 50,000 negative votes at a price of 10 yuan each, and voted all of them for Red Moon Empire. The number of negative reviews that month reached 100,000, which is also very outstanding. Articles written by other people, even if they are clickbait titles, will not get so many negative reviews. The battle continued, and the book Friends of Red Moon Empire gritted their teeth and continued to vote. The total number of positive reviews was 60,000, 70,000, 80,000. This fighting power really shocked everyone. Generally speaking, a fixed number of positive votes are given out every month, and the first day of the month is when the book friends have the most votes. As a result, the increase on the first day was 20,000, and the second day was 30,000. Seeing this growth rate, Grey Young Master also frowned. On the first day, it is estimated that many of the book friends of Red Moon Empire did not receive the news of the return of the dog-headed military advisor. Instead, it was discovered on the second day that the dog-headed military advisor had sounded the horn of counterattack, So the number of votes on the second day was more than the first day. However, there are now 100,000 negative reviews and only 80,000 positive reviews, which cannot be caught up for the time being. Just catch up slowly, you can only eat dust behind me. Grey Young Master sneered. Although this fighting ability is good, it is still not as good as his. But on the third day, Grey Young Master logged into the website and his eyes jumped. A message was repeatedly jumping in the prominent place of Red Moon Empire. KZI cast 50,000 favorable votes. Grey Young Master slammed the table hard. This KZI is against him, right? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 143 Teacher on Duty Mang Yongzi. Grey Young Master was angry. KZI cast 30,000 votes on the first day and 50,000 votes on the second day. If it weren't for this person, relying on the Buck Friends of Red Moon Empire, it would be impossible to fight against him. This person is not a small account of the dog-headed military advisor. Grey Young Master was a little suspicious. When he fought with several miracle masters before, those people directly used their big accounts to brush and confronted him head-on. But this dog-headed military advisor is a sinister person. Maybe he created a small account to brush votes, creating an illusion that his book is very good and has the support of a big boss. This illusion will affect some neutral people and attract them to click to browse the book Red Moon Empire. I'll brush you another 50,000 bad reviews. Grey Young Master began to recharge and buy tickets. Within 3 days, he directly brushed out 1.5 million. This is also because the official does not encourage brushing bad reviews. The bad review ticket is sold at 10 yuan per ticket. And the good review ticket only costs 3 yuan per ticket. Grey Young Master is undoubtedly at a disadvantage in this confrontation. But in previous struggles, he just relied on money to pile up the opponent. After the negative votes were cast, the ratio of positive to negative reviews was now 130,000 to 150,000. The book Friends of Red Moon Empire continued to exert their strength and cast 30,000 votes on the third day. The ratio reached 160,000 to 150,000. Today, KZI did not swipe the positive votes. Some netizens felt that he did not swipe because the number of positive votes was already more than the negative votes. But Grey Young Master saw it and was more certain that the other party was the dog-headed military advisor's small account, and this move was just to avoid wasting money. How poor, huh? Grey Young Master smiled. It seems that this person does not have much money. Let me see how I can pile you up to death. On the fourth day, Grey Young Master swiped another 50,000 negative votes, bringing the number of votes for the dog-headed military advisor to just over 200,000. That over is the combat effectiveness of his younger brother, which can be ignored. Because his younger brother does not buy tickets to swipe, he only relies on the little that the website gives away every month, and he ran out of votes in the first 2 days. The war between the two sides continued, and the Zuan's exchange website was as lively as the new year. Grey Young Master is really stable, brushing 50,000 cards every day. If this continues, I feel that he has a greater chance of winning. After all, dog-headed military advisor is too unstable. That's hard to say. The book Friends of Red Moon Empire are quite powerful, and they are not bad in a fight. Moreover, this incident has been so popular recently, it is estimated that dog-headed military advisor has attracted a lot of new book friends. This is free advertising. Dog-headed military advisor has made a lot of money. It's hard to say whether he will make money or not. Let's see if he can survive. If he loses, I will be embarrassed to continue writing here. Like the previous Miracle Masters, although they were not defeated, they were annoyed by Grey Young Master and stopped writing. Both sides are hurt. I don't think Grey Young Master is a good person. Red Moon Empire is too popular, and dog-headed military advisor's level is slightly higher than those Miracle Masters. Moreover, a negative review ticket costs 10 yuan, and a positive review ticket only costs 3 yuan. Grey Young Master will be at a disadvantage in a fight. Grey Young Master's followers are also a bunch of losers. They can only shout and don't vote. The readers of Red Moon Empire are different. During the period when dog-headed military advisor stopped updating, they cursed the author more harshly than anyone else. Now that the update has resumed, they are voting while cursing. I guess many people have used up their free votes. The votes they cast today were what? Who is Haiyan Jue? He is quite rich. I don't know. I saw that the registration time was 2 or 3 months ago. There were not many speeches. He almost held up half of the sky. He cast 80,000 votes, which is 240,000. Although 240,000 is not a lot for me, is it worth spending 240,000 for a book? Is this book so well written? I'm going to take a look. If it's well written, I'll give my praise votes this month to Dog-Headed Military Advisor. I've been annoyed with Grey Young Master for a long time. Chen Mou still practices and writes novels at his own pace every day. About half of the box of nutrient solution and condensing godwood bought in the Xinhua Academy Mall has been consumed. Chen Mou's strength was steadily improving. The practice of the magic dragon body forging method and the spirit refining method went hand in hand. These two methods, one for body forging and the other for spirit refining, made Chen Mou's aura integrated, his body strong, and his spirit condensed. By the way, it's been so long since I broke through to the miracle apprentice realm, but I haven't gone for certification yet. Chen Mou thought of this matter. It doesn't matter whether it is certified or not, the key is the money. A Yuan practitioner at the beginner level can receive a subsidy of 3,000 yuan per month, while a miracle apprentice can receive 10,000 yuan per month. The card for receiving the subsidy was not in Chen Mou's hand. He gave it to his parents for safekeeping, and the money in it was at his parents' disposal. However, if this standard can be raised, the family's life can be improved a little, and they don't have to save money all the time. Yonghui High School has a place for testing, and colleges like Xinhua Academy naturally have one. After passing the certification of Xinhua Academy, it can also be reported to the state for certification. Chen Mou came to a testing hall. Teacher, I want to identify the realm of miracle apprentice. The one who received Chen Mou was a pretty female teacher who looked very young, which surprised Chen Mou a little. Before Chen Mou came in, he looked at the staff duty list. The teacher's name should be Meng Yongzi. Okay, follow me. Meng Yongzi led Chen Mou forward. Teacher, you are really young. Chen Mou was ready to find some topics to talk about and change his dull and uncommunicative personality. This teacher was his training object. Meng Yongzi, who didn't know that she was being used as a tool, smiled elegantly. Actually, I can be considered your senior sister, but I have graduated for 2 years. Because I have a lot of feelings for Xinhua Academy, I chose to take the exam to be a teacher here. It's just that the requirements for the teachers here are too high. Generally, they have to be law scholars, and those who are lower have to be high-level miracle masters. I am only a middle-level miracle master. Meng Yongzi shrugged helplessly. So, I can't be a teaching teacher, I can only be a duty teacher here. Chen Mou also had to admit that the faculty of Xinhua Academy was very strong. Law scholars are definitely big shots in the outside world. Ordinary people rarely see them, and a single word can shake the situation in an area. Even a CEO worth tens of billions has to be respectful in front of a law scholar. But many of the teachers in Xinhua Academy are at the level of law scholars. I believe that with your talent, you will soon reach the level of law scholar. Chen Mou followed a trend and began to call her senior sister. Calling the other person a teacher is more respectful, while calling her senior sister can bring them closer. Meng Yongzi covered her mouth and smiled. Thank you for your blessing, junior brother. I hope so, but the low scholar is a hurdle. It is difficult to break through. I hope I don't have to wait until I am 70 or 80 years old to reach this level. Chapter 144 Phone Call. Meng Yongzi brought Chen Mou to a testing room. Brother, come and show your miracle power, and then hit this strength tester with all your strength. As long as your explosive power can reach 2,400 kilograms, you will be considered to have reached the realm of miracle apprentice. The test for the beginner realm requires both strength and speed testing, and both must meet the standards. But the test for the miracle apprentice is simpler, as long as the strength meets the standards. In fact, the most important thing to judge whether one has reached the standard of the miracle apprentice realm is whether one has miracle power. This explosive power test is just to assist in the judgment. After all, the test images here have to be uploaded to the central government for certification. Is this strength tester strong enough? Chen Mou touched the tester in front of him. He remembered the news report that Chu Xiaoxi directly broke the strength tester during the college entrance examination, and later the examiner urgently replaced it with a high-end one. Junior brother, you are very confident. Meng Yongzi laughed dumbly. Don't worry, This is specially prepared for the Miracle Apprentice test. Of course it is very strong. Even if you are a high-level Miracle Apprentice, it is difficult to destroy it. That's good. Chen Mou nodded. He didn't plan to hide his strength. He hadn't taken a strength test for a long time. Although he felt that he had made great progress, it was hard to say how strong he was. It was just the right opportunity to understand his own situation. The miracle power exploded, and the power soared wildly. The powerful miracle power was about to condense into substance and spread throughout the test room. Under the blessing of this power, all functions of the body were greatly improved. Meng Yangxi's eyes condensed. This miracle power was too strong. Could it be that this student had a high-level miracle apprentice? No, this was impossible. When I registered him just now, I learned that he was just a freshman. He should be in the middle stage, but it was a bit too strong. The magic dragon burning blood technique was activated. Chen Mou's breath rose again, and his figure was like a god of war standing between heaven and earth. There were not too many fancy moves, just twisting his body and punching. With a dull thump, the test instrument shook violently 4,256 kilograms. The stuff from Xinghua Academy is good, and quite solid. Chen Mou affirmed in his heart. He was quite satisfied with this result, which had surpassed Chu Xiaoxi's performance in the college entrance examination. Moreover, the strength tested in the college entrance examination was doubled. Meng Yangxi ran over with her eyes wide open, and poked the instrument a few times. This strength was a bit beyond her expectations. Chen Mou didn't know what to say when he saw this scene. This teacher was quite cute. Imagine the scene when she was teaching, it must be quite joyful. Congratulations, junior brother, you have successfully passed the assessment. I will upload the certification video to the central government, and it should be confirmed within 2 days. Meng Yangxi said with a smile on her face. Thank you, senior sister. Chen Mou thanked her, said goodbye to her, and left the testing room. Now that the certification is completed, the subsidy should be increased next month. On the way, Chen Mou called home. On the one hand, he told his parents the news, so that they would not be confused about what happened when they received the money next month. On the other hand, Chen Mou hadn't called home for a long time. Beep beep. Hello, Mom. Son, what have you been busy with recently? Are you adapting to school life? Tan Xiaoyan's voice came out. Xinghua Academy is very good, with strong faculty, and many teachers are at the level of law scholars. Chen Mou said. Tan Xiaoyan was excited when she heard it. How big a figure is a law scholar? There are probably only 1 or 2 in Yanghui City, and they are hard to find. Thinking that such a person can teach her son, how can her son's future achievements be bad? Okay, son, you must study hard and strive to achieve success in cultivation. Tan Xiaoyan encouraged. With her personality, she would not set hard targets for Chen Mou, just encouragement. But at this moment, her mind has long been full of imagination. With so many teachers at the level of law scholars, maybe they can teach her son to become a law scholar? Just thinking about it, Tan Xiaoyan was excited. Law scholars are already at the top of Yanghui City. She and Chen Jianai are just ordinary small employees. How could they have thought of having such a status? But it was just a moment of excitement, and Tan Xiaoyan calmed down again. It is still very difficult to become a law scholar. These teachers are professors and the like, the elite among the elites. It is not easy for students to achieve the same achievements as teachers after graduation. Chen Mou didn't know that his mother was so imaginative. He felt ashamed and didn't go to class much. He continued, by the way, I have reached the level of miracle apprentice. After being recognized, the subsidy amount should be able to increase to 10,000 yuan next month. You and Dad don't need to be too frugal. Use it when you need it. The subsidy card is in the hands of his parents, and he has transferred 200,000 yuan to them before. However, except for the 20,000 or 30,000 yuan spent on decoration, the family is still very frugal in other situations. Okay, we will use it according to the situation. There is nothing to spend money recently. Tan Xiaoyan was still very happy to hear that the subsidy amount could still increase. She thought Chen Mou was a miracle apprentice at the beginning stage, because Chen Mou had demonstrated the power of miracle when he was treating his grandfather that day. By the way, it's time to replace your old cell phones. They are so old and can't keep up with the times. Chen Mou thought of his parents' 2 old cell phones. His cell phone was the most powerful one in the family. What old cell phone? My cell phone runs very fast. It has excessive performance, right? After so many years of development, the CPU of mobile phones has strong computing power. But those software companies are really deceiving. Seeing that the CPU of mobile phones is strong and the flash memory is large, they are desperately adding functions. Now the software's dozens of GB. Chen Mou was indignant when she talked about this. When she bought the cell phone 3 years ago, the software ran very fast. But not long after, the size of the software expanded again and it became difficult to run. You want me to buy a new phone? That's impossible. You've fallen into the trap of the manufacturer. What should the mobile phone manufacturer do if the new product can't be sold? Contact the software vendor, increase the size of the software, and optimize it. The old phone will become slower, and the new phone will naturally sell well. It's all a routine. Although Chen Mou is a middle-aged woman, after being baptized by modern information, she can scare Chen Mou when she speaks. Chen Mou continued, I also have something to tell you. Your father and I have been promoted recently, and our salaries have increased a lot. Your father's salary has increased to 9,000, and I have 8,500 now. Chen Mou heard it happily and said, after so many years of hard work, I finally got through it. You can't get through it by hard work. Chen Mou said, your father and I were able to get promoted because of your face. Although you are a student, you have won the first place in the exam, you are famous, and you have a bright future. The supervisor of the unit took the opportunity to make friends with you. But it is also because we have recently practiced the eternal life secret, our strength has improved, our brains have become more flexible, and our ability to do things has become stronger. Chapter 145 Su Dao vs. His Hanggang. Chen Mou and his mother chatted about a lot of trivial matters. After a while, his father Chen Jianyi also came over and told Chen Mou to study hard and ask the teacher for advice. After Chen Mou finished the call, he saw that it was still early, so he went to the gravity room for training. When he returned to the dormitory at night, Chen Mou first spent more than an hour updating Red Moon Empire, and then logged into the campus forum of Xinhua Academy. However, Chen Mou did not go to the forum to chat and brag, but to read the today's brief on the forum. This is a module content specially operated by the Campus Student Union, which introduces major events that happened in the school in 1 or 2 sentences. Chen Mou wants to study in Xinhua Academy, and it is not enough to practice silently. He still needs to understand the things around him. The top priority today is that Lin Sichen breaks through to the realm of Miracle Master. She was originally 3rd on the Little Xinhua list. Now that she has broken through, the top 2 positions will be immediately impacted. However, Lin Sichen said that she has no plans to challenge for the time being. There was a sound of amazement in the forum. Lin Sichen has just started her sophomore year and has broken through to the realm of Miracle Master. She is considered to be a talented person. This girl is the number 1 on the school beauty list, with both beauty and strength, and she has attracted a lot of attention. The second most popular one is a junior brother who has made a breakthrough and clearly stated that he will challenge them one by one, and set off a new round of bloody storms on the Xinhua list. The third one is the news that a senior student has formed a trial team. They returned from the mission and destroyed a demon nest. It is said that they are interested in participating in the Starry Sky War next. The 4th, the 5th, the 6th. When it came to the 7th message, Chen Mou found 2 acquaintances. Su Dao challenged his Hanggang. This Su Dao really does what he says. He immediately confronted the people on the Xinhua list. I wonder when he will challenge me. Chen Mou touched his chin. Not long after entering school, Su Dao said that he wanted to challenge the senior brothers on the list, and also expressed his intention to fight with him. The battle starts on the 6th, isn't it tomorrow? Chen Mou looked at the date on his phone. Today is the 5th. Chen Mou plans to go and see when the time comes. His Hanggang is not a person to be feared, but Su Dao is worthy of his attention. This matter has attracted a lot of attention in the school. It is not common for freshmen to challenge the Xinhua as soon as they enter school. Just inviting a fight can rank 7th in popularity. If the fight starts tomorrow, the popularity will probably rise. October 6th. Martial arts field. The 2 sides of the battle have not yet taken their positions, but there is already a surging crowd here. Su Dao, a freshman, wanted to challenge the strong on the Xinhua not long after entering school, which is very topical. This battle is also a battle for his Hanggang to defend his dignity. Maybe he is not ranked very high on the Xiaoxing Huolbang, but that is not something that a freshman who has just entered school can challenge. This battle will knock down the arrogance of these freshmen and let them know that they must have the necessary respect for their predecessors. This respect does not mean that I entered school a year earlier than you and I have to rely on my seniority, but I will convince you with my strength. It is not age that is respected, but strength. The victory or defeat of this battle has attracted a lot of attention. Because this is the first real battle between freshmen and old students. Some frictions that occurred in the school before were just minor fights. Most of the students watching the fight were freshmen and sophomores, and there were fewer juniors and seniors. Because a fight of this magnitude would not affect the status of those juniors and seniors. Even so, there were many people watching the fight, and the place was packed with people. Zhao Wenho sat in the spectator seat and said to a burly man next to him, "This fight shouldn't be worth watching. I don't know why you dragged me to watch it." Next to him was Liu Nanshan. It had not been long since Liu Nanshan was slapped in the face by Zhao Wenho during the fight, and the two of them became good brothers again and made an appointment to watch the fight. Liu Nanshan sneered, "I asked you to come here. I just sent you a message, and you came here so happily. You even said that you were very reluctant." Anger flashed across Zhao Wenho's face. "You said that watching this battle can show the strength of his Hengyang, but I don't think this freshman who came out of nowhere can force his Hengyang to use his full strength. This Su Dao is quite famous. He provoked Li's Hengyang not long after he came. This is just a continuation of the struggle that day." "Oh? Really? Can this freshman fight against his Hengyang?" Zhao Wenho looked at him slightly. "I didn't see the scene that day with my own eyes. It is said that his Hengyang came back from a mission and wanted to show off in front of the freshmen. As a result, he met a ruthless man named Chen Mou who didn't give him face at all. The two of them started to fight. And then Su Dao couldn't stand it anymore, so he stood up and resisted his Hengyang's hegemony." Liu Nanshan told the news he heard, and his words were very sarcastic to his Hengyang, directly portraying him as someone who failed to show off and was slapped in the face. Really? Zhao Wenho had never heard of this news. What about Chen Mou and Su Dao? Can these two fight against his Hengyang? Zhao Wenho was a little bit unconvinced. He knew his Hengyang's strength. When he attacked, he was like a god of war, with surging power. Chen Mou and Su Dao, if they were alone, they would not be a match for his Hengyang, but if they join hands, his Hengyang would be afraid of them. Zhao Wenho nodded. This battle is indeed worth watching, but it is still hard to say how much strength Su Dao can bring out of his Hengyang. Liu Nanshan did not bother to talk to him anymore, and looked up at the audience. These two people are coming. Zhao Wenho also looked up. His Hengyang stepped forward, wearing a suit of armor and holding a spear, like a god from heaven. His aura was like the ocean, vast and deep, pushing everyone aside and automatically making way for him. Su Dao also came on the field, wearing a simple sportswear and carrying a long sword. Compared with his Hengyang's flamboyant and domineering, his aura was more restrained and deep, as small as dust. But this made it even more difficult for the audience to see his depth. "You're here? I haven't found you yet, but you dare to challenge me. You are very brave. I will start with you today, and challenge your roommate Chen Mou later to suppress your young and hot-tempered personalities." His Hengyang looked at Su Dao and smiled. Su Dao said expressionlessly, "Do you know the elimination system? The loser is not eligible to continue the challenge. After I win, I will help you challenge Chen Mou." In his words, he did not take his Hengyang seriously. Moreover, the order of the challenge is also particular. Challenge his Hengyang first, and then challenge Chen Mou after winning. Although he did not say it directly, he actually hinted that Chen Mou's strength is higher than his Hengyang. Chen Mou in the spectator seat. "What did I do wrong? Why do you want to challenge me?" Chapter 146 Fight. His Hengyang glanced at Su Dao coldly. "You are quite arrogant, let's start." The long spear moved, broke through the air, and stabbed in front of Su Dao. Su Dao drew his sword and stood up, clanging like a dragon's roar. The two sides collided hundreds of times in an instant. Sparks flew. His Hengyang moved his body, domineering, and the spear light fell like raindrops. His aura was too strong, his blood was like the surging ocean, and the energy was surging around him. He was wearing armor and his body was majestic, like a god of war. This momentum, his Hengyang is stronger than before. Liu Nanshan's heart was restless. He had a plan to challenge his Hengyang, But his Hengayang's strength at this moment was slightly beyond his expectations. Su Dao also made a move, and the whole person was like a peerless sword out of its sheath. His body was a little thin, but it did not affect his sharpness. With a sword in hand, ghosts and gods will not stay. Raise the 3-foot green sword and sweep away the injustice in the world. Sword ki spread out like an ocean around him, like a dragon and snake winding around. His Hengayang's armor was swept by the sword ki, leaving scratches. His Hengayang didn't care, and rushed forward again and again, like a chariot rolling over, sweeping his spear across, breaking all obstacles. Su Daoshan was like a willow catkin in the wind, floating back, swinging his sword and slashing down, moving the mountains and rivers, not giving in. A white stream of sword ki fell like a big river, covering his Hengayang's head. His Hengayang roared wildly, raised his spear, and the power of miracles rioted, colliding with the white stream of sword ki. The airflow impacted, the sword light overflowed, and the martial arts field lit up with runes, turning into a large net to block all the impact and avoid hurting the students watching the game. This is the protection measure of the martial arts field. Even so, many cracks have appeared on the ground of the martial arts field. The fluctuations of these two people were too strong. Although it was just some aftermath, if there was no protection, the entire martial arts field would be destroyed. The battle continued, and the two men collided with each other, like two ruthless demolition machines, destroying everything. The runes of the martial arts field rose and fell, dimming here and brightening there. The destructive power of these two is really amazing. The students watching the battle were shocked. His Hengayang was like a god of war, with a majestic aura, and he could stop the flow of a river with a flip of his hand. His fighting spirit was soaring and unstoppable. And Su Dao's sword was across the sky, without too many fancy tricks, only the killing intention of cutting through everything. The biting cold made many students with lower strength feel cold on their backs. The two men collided, the power of miracle exploded, and the air was filled with explosions. Zhao Wenhu looked at him intently. This Su Dao is stronger than I thought. With his strength, he will definitely be on the Xiaoxinghu list, but it's hard to say how many places he will rank. Youth has always been Zhao Wenhu's capital, but Su Dao is the same age as him. Facing Su Dao, he is not sure of winning. The sword lights intertwined, covering like a fishing net. His Hengayang shook his gun and blew them all away. I underestimated you a little bit. A cold look flashed across his Hengayang's face. The power displayed by Su Dao was much stronger than the day they fought in the cafeteria. Have you hidden your strength? Or have you made progress in the past few days? But you are not the only one who has made progress. A sword energy came like a big river and swept towards his Hengayang. His Hengayang moved his legs and his figure was like an eagle striking the sky, directly into the air. Su Dao raised his sword and flew up, the sword energy flew, and slashed in the air. His Hengayang's long spear was like a dragon, and it stabbed out, pulling the air to move, forming an effect like a cannon. The two collided, and both exploded, and the air splashed. His Hengayang stood proudly in the air, his black hair fluttering. At this moment, his aura rose again, and the aura of arrogance filled the whole place. Every move of his had an invisible pressure. Something is wrong. Liu Nanshan stared at his Hengayang in the air. Miracle apprentices can only stay in the air for a short time. Why did he not fall down after so long? His Hengayang stood on the air, and his figure did not show any signs of falling. He could even change his figure in the air and collide with Su Dao. At first, Liu Nanshan thought that his Hengayang was floating in the air with the help of the collision force, but the more he looked at it, the less it seemed to be the case. Liu Nanshan was shocked. Stepping on the void is a realm that only miracle masters can reach. Could it be that his Hengayang has reached the realm of miracle masters? No, it shouldn't be so fast. He was still a middle-level miracle apprentice before, so now he is probably a high-level miracle apprentice. His Hengayang is considered to be relatively strong among many miracle apprentices. Even if he has not reached the realm of miracle masters, he may have a way to walk in the air. Liu Nanshan felt a little frustrated. He was still only a middle-level miracle apprentice, although he was not far from a breakthrough. But today's scene proved that his Hengayang's strength was indeed higher than his. Many other students also figured this out, and their eyes flashed with shock. First, Lin Sichen broke through to the realm of miracle master, and now it is discovered that his Hengayang has broken through from the middle stage of miracle apprentice to the high stage. This Xiaoxinghu ranking is expected to usher in some changes. It is just unclear whether other students on the list have also made progress. His Haiyan stood in the void, looking down from above, and the power of miracles surged like a tidal wave. At this moment, he fully demonstrated his strength, his fighting spirit split the sky, and he smashed down with a gun, colliding with Su Dao's long sword, shocking the opponent to fly back several steps. Gate of the Nine Netherworld. His Haiyan used all his strength as soon as he made a move, and he would never show mercy, and once again revealed a trump card. Behind him, the power of miracles gathered, and a vague and illusory portal with a faint light opened. A shadow with an equally vague and unsolid figure slowly crawled out of the door. This is a strange-looking creature, with a very tall figure, about 3 meters. Its entire body was a skeleton, with a flame burning in each of its eyes. It held a machete in its hand, and streams of air swirled around it, forming small whirlwinds. As soon as the bone troll appeared, a fierce aura enveloped the entire venue, making people feel as if they were falling into the abyss. Is this, using the power of miracles to communicate with the other world and summon spirits to fight? Everyone was shocked. His Haiyan got the help of the bone troll, and the two of them attacked together, almost doubling their combat power. Liu Nanshan's face was livid. How many cards did his Haiyan have? He had never seen his Haiyan use this Nine-Nether Gate to summon spirits from another world to fight. It was unknown whether it was hidden too deeply or it was only recently practiced. This time, Su Dao might be in trouble. His Haiyan has used all his cards. The outcome will be decided in one blow. This duel will not last too long. Everyone in the spectator seats paid close attention. It's what he deserves. Freshmen should practice diligently. He wants to challenge our sophomores. And if he wants to challenge, he should find someone with a lower ranking on the little star list. This time he must have hide a wall. Su Dao's eyes became even colder. There was no panic on his face, only absolute calmness. He didn't make many movements, but tightened his long sword in his hand again, and the murderous intent around him was completely restrained. The collision was imminent. Chapter 147, The Victory. His Haiyan fell back to the ground, stomped hard on the floor, and flew over like an arrow. The long spear in his hand pierced through the air, making a sharp explosion. Beside him, the white bone troll had dim eyes and chopped down in the air with a machete in his hand. Su Dao's aura was completely restrained, no longer showing the sharp edge just now, making people feel that their skin was about to be cut by the sword. Are you a high-level miracle apprentice? It's really fancy. No matter how many secret methods you have, I can break them with one sword. I will prove to the world who is the real god of war. Su Dao muttered to himself, holding the sword in both hands and facing the two people in front of him. A bright sword light appeared between heaven and earth, dazzling the people present and subconsciously closed their eyes. When they opened their eyes again, the winner had already been decided. Su Dao's left shoulder was pierced by his Haiyan's spear, and blood flowed. The white bone troll's machete chopped Su Dao's chest, leaving a long scratch. His Haiyan stood in the middle, his aura like a god of war slowly receded, blood marks burst out on his chest one after another, and the solid armor could not stop the unparalleled sword energy and was completely broken. The white bone troll was chopped down by his sword energy, and the already illusory figure was directly split into two halves, and then slowly disappeared. Good. His Haiyan slowly uttered a few words, loosened his hand holding the spear, and his figure slowly fell down. The whole audience was silent. No one could have imagined that it would be such a result. His Haiyan, who had just shown his invincible posture with great strength, was defeated in a single encounter. Both sides used their strongest means. Although it was only a momentary fight, it was better than 1,000 moves of entanglement. Su Dao shook a few times, but he still stood in the same place after all. His thin body showed a sense of standing tall. In his bright eyes, there was a fire that would never go out. Hurry up and give first aid. Several doctors rushed over, showing a 12-point professional attitude. He sprayed some medicine on his Haiyan's chest to stop the bleeding first, and then used the power of miracle to strengthen his Haiyan's body to relieve his injuries. Then he hurriedly lifted him onto the stretcher. Su Dao pursed his lips, stretched out his right hand to hold the spear, and gently pulled it out from the wound. Although he used the power of miracle to control the blood from the wound on his shoulder, streams of blood still seeped out slowly, and a long mark was scratched on his chest by the troll, and his clothes were covered with the blood. Su Dao suddenly felt a sense of dizziness and fell to the ground. Hurry up and give first aid. The doctors who were controlling his Hangayang's injuries saw it and immediately sent 2 doctors to control Su Dao's injuries. The 2 were quickly pulled away by the school doctor, leaving the people in the spectator seats looking at each other in bewilderment. This year's freshmen are all monsters. Are they really the strongest class? Liu Nanshan muttered to himself, unable to calm down. No matter how strong his Hangayang was, he was defeated. If he was allowed to go, he would definitely fail. Zhao Wenhu also looked solemn and felt pressured. The crowd slowly dispersed, but the aftermath of the incident continued. Someone put the high-definition video of the battle on the campus forum, triggering greater discussion. Su Dao defeated Is Hangayang in one battle and officially replaced him as the 37th on the Xiaoxinghu list, while his Hangayang dropped to 38th. This also represents a round of impact launched by freshmen on the existing pattern. Su Dao is very strong, but he is not necessarily the strongest among the freshmen. There are many hidden dragons and crouching tigers in Xinghua Academy, and there may be people like Su Dao among the freshmen. After seeing this news, Meng Ziming's eyes were dim and his thoughts fluctuated. He was the provincial champion of Southern Sichuan province, but he did not show the power of the champion and was suppressed by Chen Mou. Now Chen Mou's roommate Su Dao has shown his amazing fighting power again and defeated Is Hangayang. East China province is really full of hidden talents. Chu Xiaoxi, Chen Mou, and Su Dao all came from East China province. I have to speed up my cultivation progress, otherwise others will think that I am just a top scholar in name only. Meng Ziming was holding an iron dumbbell in his hand. He squeezed it hard, and the steel was flattened in his hand like noodles. I wonder how Lu Zuanshan, He Long, and Sitabin reacted after seeing the news? Chen Mou ran to the hospital to visit Su Dao. After all, he was also a roommate. Tisk tisk. It's so pitiful. He was injured. I guess he won't be able to challenge me in a short time. Fortunately, I practiced a magic dragon body strengthening method. No matter what injury, I can recover quickly. I was hit hard by the goddess of order that day, but after a few days, I was still alive and kicking. Su Dao looked at him with a pair of sharp eyes. Why do I feel that you are gloating? No. Chen Mou waved his hand quickly. Your injury should be quite serious. You need to take good care of yourself in this month. As he said, he showed a concerned look. It's not a big problem. Su Dao took a breath. My injury looks terrible, but there is no bone injury. For this kind of flesh and blood injury, I can move blood and nourish cells, and recover quickly. You make preparations first. We will have a duel in 10 days, also in the martial arts field. How about it? Recovered so quickly? Chen Mou's mouth twitched and said, why are you so persistent in challenging me? I like challenges, and I am not afraid of any challenges. I want to prove to the world, who is the real number one. Challenging you is just the first step. I have to accumulate strength next and challenge Chu Xiaoxi again. Su Dao's words were very impolite, but Chen Mou didn't care. Su Dao was not the kind of person who spoke in a roundabout way and was polite and euphemistic. But from the momentary shock in his eyes when he talked about Chu Xiaoxi, it can be seen that the long-term failure still left a big shadow on him. Chen Mou was still a little unhappy. You can challenge Chu Xiaoxi only after you challenge me. Isn't this tacitly admitting that I am weaker than her? Chen Mou's strength has greatly improved, and he has also become a little inflated. He doesn't think he is much worse than Chu Xiaoxi. Su Dao tried to sit up, stretched out his hand and patted Chen Mou's shoulder. Alice, I understand your feelings. Anyone would be unhappy to be suppressed by others. I am also very unhappy, but the reality is that I have been suffering every day for the past 3 years. Of course I understand your situation. You and Chu Xiaoxi have that kind of relationship. The other party is too brilliant, so you are bound to feel pressure. Su Dao looked understanding. Chen Mou scratched his head. Actually, Chu Xiaoxi and I have no relationship. We are just ordinary friends. I understand. Su Dao nodded vigorously. I didn't say that you had any relationship with Chu Xiaoxi. I know you are under pressure. Okay, you seem to be fine. I'll go first. Chen Mou was ready to leave. Okay, don't forget our duel in 10 days. Su Dao said, lying on the bed. Seeing that Chen Mou had left, his face turned lonely. I don't want to be the second place forever. Chapter 148 Summoning. Xinghua Academy's free training room. This is where Xinghua students usually train. It has strong protective measures and can freely experiment with various combat skills and techniques. No matter how hard you bombard it, It is difficult to damage the buildings here. Gate of the Nine Netherworld. Chen Mou saw his Haiyan use the secret method of the Gate of the Nine Netherworld to summon a giant phantom to fight, and his heart moved slightly. If it weren't for his reminder, I would have forgotten that there is such a secret method. Then I will try my secret method of the Gate of Heaven and Earth. This virtual door is essentially a summoning ritual, establishing a connection with some existence in the depths of the universe and summoning the other party's power. His Haiyan summoned a trace of the power of the white bone giant, which may not even be 1/10,000th. As for the giant's body, it is impossible to cross such a long distance. His Haiyan's power is not enough to build a space-time wormhole. Chen Mou's miracle power spread out and built an illusory portal according to the requirements of the secret method. This portal is square and tightly closed, with purple divine patterns on it. A strange power emanated from the portal, seemingly connected to the depths of the heavens. It succeeded. I wonder what I can summon? My Gate of Heaven and Earth is much stronger than his Haiyan's Gate of the Netherworld. Chen Mou was slightly excited, but soon calmed down. Because of his low realm, he probably couldn't summon anything very good. This Gate of Heaven and Earth is closely related to the realm of the user. The higher the realm, the stronger the summoning power. In the name of me, Chen Mou, I call on the strange existence in the depths of the heavens to conclude a contract. Chen Mou recited a secret spell. After concluding the contract, he could use this door at any time to borrow the power of the other party. Chen Mou slowly pushed the door open, holding his breath and waiting for what would be summoned. A round shadow rolled out from behind the door, bouncing and bouncing, with amazing elasticity. This round creature was covered with purple fur and was not big, only slightly bigger than Chen Mou's head. A pair of dark eyes turned around, looking very smart. Chen Mou's eyes fixed. What is this? It doesn't look as powerful as the bone troll. Hello, you want to sign a contract with me? The round purple shadow looked at Chen Mou timidly for a few times and said, May I ask what species you belong to? Chen Mou asked. He felt that his knowledge was still a bit shallow. Even in his future memories, he had never seen such a creature. The purple shadow bounced a few times and said, I don't know either. Then what are your specialties? Chen Mou asked. Specialties? I can sleep a lot. I have slept for a long time. I can't remember how long it has been. The purple shadow said. A few black lines appeared on Chen Mou's forehead. What the hell is this? A good sleeper? And this thing doesn't look very powerful. Chen Mou imagined the scene of the ultimate showdown between him and his Haiyan. The opponent's combat power was fully opened, building the Nine Nether Gate, summoning the bone troll with one hand, holding a machete, and killing majestically. Chen Mou was not in a hurry. He also constructed a Gate of Heaven and Earth. A round purple shadow jumped out. No, Chen Mou shook his head quickly. The scene was terrifying just thinking about it. I don't think we are suitable. Chen Mou said. Yeah, then I'll go back to sleep. The purple shadow looked very happy, and jumped through the portal again. This thing is quite strange. Chen Mou shook his head and changed the spell. In the name of me, Chen Mou, I call on the powerful existence in the depths of the heavens to conclude a contract. In the center of the Gate of Heaven and Earth, ripples spread, and strange power emanated. Hey, who is summoning me? An extremely evil voice came out, and then an invisible wave spread, making Chen Mou's head a little dizzy. A demon shadow with 3 heads and 6 arms rushed out from behind the door, looked at Chen Mou, and a greedy light flashed in his eyes. Not a bad body, become my blood food. As he said, he stretched out his hand to grab Chen Mou, and the powerful mental oppression enveloped the surroundings, shocking Chen Mou in place, unable to move. HMPH. Chen Mou snorted coldly, and the lighthouse in his sea of consciousness shone brightly, breaking all the restraining forces. The light even rushed out of the sea of consciousness and shone directly into the real world. A hissing sound rang out, and the 3-headed demon was illuminated by the light, and the already somewhat illusory form became even more unreal, as if it was eroded. With a furious roar, the 3-headed demon attacked Chen Mou, and the 3 heads and 6 arms moved together to block all the routes for Chen Mou to dodge. But its plan did not work, because Chen Mou did not dodge at all. As soon as his body moved, explosive power surged out, and he directly fought with a 3-headed demon. Fists and feet came out at the same time, and his body was like a dragon, directly knocking the demon away. Chen Mou took advantage of the situation and rushed forward, hitting continuously, and one burst was more than 4 tons of huge force. The three-headed demon was beaten and howled miserably, and finally dissipated on the spot. This summoning is not reliable. Chen Mou pondered for a moment and said, "In the name of Chen Mou, I call upon the powerful and friendly beings in the depths of the heavens to conclude a contract." This summoning lasted for a while, and there was no response for a long time. Generally speaking, the more restrictions there are, the more difficult it is to find suitable creatures. Not only do you have to meet the conditions, but those mysterious beings must also be interested in your summoning. Another point is that Chen Mou's current strength is not enough, and the summoning range is not large. 10 minutes later, ripples appeared in the gate of heaven and earth. A small figure jumped out. It was a little girl with a delicate face, very fair skin, and looked like a porcelain doll, cute and naive. What was a little strange was that her eyes were purple. The little girl stretched out a tender little hand, rubbed her sleepy eyes, and looked around. "Where is this? Why am I here? Chen Mou, don't you know why you are here? The summoning ceremony must be agreed by the other party before it can be summoned, not forced by Chen Mou. Moreover, how to summon a little girl? I don't want to abduct children." Chen Mou patted his forehead, feeling very upset. This spell seems to have no effect at all. The things summoned are all random. Chen Mou was having a headache, and suddenly his heart was shocked. The things he summoned just now were all phantoms, and this one seemed to be real. "I am not really trafficking children, am I?" Chen Mou tentatively reached out and took the other's hand. It was tender and very soft. It felt very real, definitely not a phantom. The little girl was not shy, giggling, her eyes narrowed into crescent shapes. Chen Mou was not calm anymore. What the hell were those things he summoned today? Chapter 149 Xiaobei. Chen Mou was sure that the little girl was a real person, not a phantom, so he wanted to let go. But the little girl grabbed Chen Mou's hand in return, swaying, squinting her eyes, and humming an unknown tune. Chen Mou also let her pull him and asked, "What's your name?" The little girl said, "My name is Xiaobei." The voice was soft and sticky, a crisp childish voice. Chen Mou said, "Xiaobei, where are your parents? How did you get here through this door?" Chen Mou was ready to send her back, but he couldn't just throw her into the door and be done with it. He had to ask clearly whether her parents were behind the door and how she got here. "Parents?" Xiaobei said, "I don't have parents. Can you be my dad?" While speaking, she pulled Chen Mou's hand and swayed it, looking up at Chen Mou with her little face, her purple eyes sparkling and full of expectation. So cute. Chen Mou felt his heart melt. But soon he had a headache again. "Xiaobei, do you have relatives or friends?" Xiaobei shook her head, "I don't have any." "Then where are you from?" Chen Mou was a little confused. How did such a child survive without parents, relatives, or friends? Did she live in an orphanage? "I don't know. The surrounding environment was dark, and I didn't like it. Later, I saw a glowing door, so I ran over." Xiaobei stretched out a white and tender finger and pointed at the door of heaven and earth. "It's this door." "Okay." Chen Mou felt that he couldn't get anything out of asking. Xiaobei was still a child after all, and her understanding of things was not very clear. And after hearing what Xiaobei said, Chen Mou couldn't throw her back behind the door. After all, she clearly said that she didn't like the environment there. "Daddy, hug me." Xiaobei stretched out her hands and tried hard to jump up. Chen Mou leaned over and picked up Xiaobei. The other party stretched out two wide and tender hands, hugged Chen Mou's neck, and giggled. Chen Mou's heart also surged with warmth. Xiaobei is so cute. But then he was helpless. Although the child was cute, it was hard to take care of him. He couldn't even support himself. How could he raise a child? And how could he become a father inexplicably? Chen Mou's summoning plan for today was ruined. He didn't dare to use the gate of heaven and earth casually. What if he summoned another child? "Are you hungry, Xiaobei? I'll take you to eat something delicious." "Okay, okay." Xiaobei clapped his hands. Chen Mou picked up Xiaobei and walked out of the free training room. The teacher on duty in the hall was sitting in his seat bored, and suddenly his eyes widened. "What's going on? I didn't see anyone carrying a child in. How come they came out holding one? Did you give birth in there?" The teacher on duty shook his head violently to dispel this thought. Maybe he didn't have enough energy recently and didn't notice it. He waved to Chen Mou, "Classmate, you still have to focus on your studies." It was said in a more tactful way. "Dating is not prohibited in college, but you even have a child. This is still quite strange." Chen Mou's face froze. This is my sister. Yes, my sister. Okay then. The teacher on duty did not ask any more questions. After all, he was not Chen Mou's class teacher, and even if he was, he could not control so much. Chen Mou held Xiaobei and walked towards the Xinghe canteen, attracting a lot of attention along the way. After all, it was quite rare to run around in the school with a child in your arms. These people secretly guessed that maybe this was Chen Mou's sister, but it was still strange to bring a sister to school. After arriving at the canteen, Chen Mou was worried again. He said he would take Xiaobei to eat delicious food, but he had no experience in taking care of children. What should he eat? A child of this age should be weaned and can eat meat. Xiaobei, what do you want to eat? Chen Mou decided to let Xiaobei choose by himself. He held Xiaobei and walked in front of each window. I want this. Xiaobei pointed. This seems to be delicious. This smells so good. Can I have one of this? Xiaobei's eyes were sparkling and he was extremely excited. Chen Mou was smiling at first, but soon he was overwhelmed because Xiaobei ordered too much. She also ordered a lot of spirit beast meat, which made Chen Mou a little worried that Xiaobei would burst. Spirit beast meat is definitely better than ordinary meat, but ordinary people should not eat too much spirit beast meat, because the blood and qi contained in it are too strong, and it is not enough to replenish the body. What's more, Xiaobei is still so young. But since Xiaobei really wants it, Chen Mou can only satisfy her wish. At most, when Xiaobei eats, Chen Mou will keep a close eye on her and let her eat only a small piece of each. Drop. 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 Chen Mou swiped his card all the way, and the canteen ant handed out plates of meat one by one. Chen Mou didn't have 3 heads and 6 arms, so he couldn't take so much, so he had to use his miracle power to control the plates to float around him. Wow, that is so amazing. Xiaobei was happy and thought Chen Mou was performing magic. The wonders here also attracted the attention of many people. Fuck. A hungry ghost reincarnated. Can he finish it? We are all mysterious people, with vigorous blood and strong consumption capacity, but I really admire this person for eating so much at one time. Around Chen Mou, there were more than a dozen plates floating, each of which was full. The ant in Xinghe canteen did not have the problem of shaking hands. Most of them were meat, with only 2 plates of vegetables. Among the meat, 5 plates were spirit beast meat, and the others were beef, pork, chicken, etc. This meal cost Chen Mou about 1,000 yuan. These spirit beast meats were expensive and cheap, with the cheap ones costing more than 100 and the expensive ones costing more than 200. As for the beef, it only cost 7 or 8 yuan a plate, which was so cheap that it was unbelievable. This was the result of the subsidy from Xinghe Academy, which was a benefit for students. If it was outside, these spirit beast meats would be much more expensive. Chen Mou found a table, put all the dishes on it, and then put Xiaobei to sit next to him. Xiaobei picked up a piece of spirit beast meat with chopsticks, blew on the hot air, put it in his mouth, and chewed it carefully. Delicious. Xiaobei's eyes narrowed into a crescent shape, and she looked very happy. Chen Mou did not dare to neglect it, and stared at Xiaobei closely, worried that she could not bear the energy and blood inside. But Xiaobei obviously did not react, and picked up another piece of beef and threw it into her mouth. This is delicious too. Xiaobei turned her eyes and stared at the spirit beast meat in another plate, and stretched out her chopsticks to pick it up. Eat slowly, eat slowly. Seeing Xiaobei's pair of chopsticks attacking repeatedly, Chen Mou's eyes were full of worry. Now there is no reaction, maybe it takes time to digest, so she can't eat too much? Chapter 150 Encounter on the Road. Dad, I want that. Xiaobei pointed to a dish that was a little far away, which was a little out of her reach. Okay. Chen Mou's miraculous power moved, and he directly pulled a piece of meat and sent it to Xiaobei's mouth. Xiaobei swallowed it in one gulp, chewed it slowly, and his mouth was full of oil. Chen Mou also picked up a few pieces of spirit beast meat and started eating. As time passed, under Chen Mou's close attention, Xiaobei finally ate enough. Chen Mou picked up a tissue and wiped the corners of Xiaobei's mouth. Then he noticed something unusual. The dozen dishes here were almost eaten up, most of which were eaten by Xiaobei, and Chen Mou himself probably ate about a quarter. Xiaobei is a little unusual. A child of this age might be full after eating one dish, let alone eating more than 10 dishes. Chen Mou was not a stupid person, and he expected Xiaobei to be special. It was impossible for a child from an ordinary family to be summoned by the gate of heaven and earth, and after Xiaobei came, he didn't look panicked at all. But with his eyesight, he couldn't see what was wrong with Xiaobei. Now I can see that he is a big eater. Xiaobei burped and sighed with satisfaction, then stretched out his hand and touched his slightly swollen belly. Dad, will I get fat if I eat so much? Chen Mou. It doesn't matter if I get fat or not, I'm afraid I'll burst you. If you're afraid of getting fat, then eat less. Chen Mou picked up Xiaobei and walked out of the cafeteria. But it's really delicious. Xiaobei muttered. The two walked out, leaving only a mess on the table. Someone will clean up these dishes, real people or robots. Behind them, eyes were watching with admiration on their faces. Who would have thought that these two people really ate all these dishes? What a glutton. Chen Mou walked towards the dormitory, a little absent-minded. He glanced at Xiaobei from time to time, trying to see something strange from her. Chen Mou. A familiar voice came, like the sound of a wind chime. Chen Mou looked up and saw Wei Lingming and Lin Sichen walking side by side on the opposite side, forming a beautiful landscape that attracted the attention of many students around. Wei Lingming was wearing a black skirt, with snow-white skin, a high nose bridge, fiery red lips, and a curvy body. This person's appearance was definitely one of the best among those Chen Mou had seen, but she had an extremely cold temperament that made it difficult for people to approach her. Lin Sichen's temperament was like the nine heavens' mysterious woman, illusory and ethereal, especially after her recent breakthrough to the realm of Miracle Master, which added a 3-point sense of transcendence. As the top of the school beauty list, her appearance was undoubtedly impeccable, and she was a little better than Wei Lingming next to her. But it was only a little bit, the difference was very small, maybe the difference between 99 points and 100 points. Sister Chen. Chen Mou walked up with Xiaobei in his arms. What a cute child. Lin Sichen's eyes lit up. Xiaobei looked delicate and cute. Wei Lingming couldn't help staring at Xiaobei for a few times, and then forced her head to turn away. Is this your sister? Lin Sichen asked. Chen Mou was about to say yes, but Xiaobei answered in a baby voice, he's my father. What? You have a child? Lin Sichen was shocked. Adopted. Chen Mou explained. Lin Sichen didn't say much, but his eyes were strange. By the way, I haven't introduced you yet. This is Wei Lingming, my friend, a sophomore, and this is Chen Mou, a freshman who just enrolled. Lin Sichen introduced the two. Chen Mou, hello, senior sister. Hello. Wei Lingming's tone was clear and cold. She looked at Xiaobei and hesitated for a moment. What's her name? Her name is Xiaobei. Xiaobei, this name is so nice. Wei Lingming rarely smiled. She wanted to hug this little girl, but she didn't dare to speak. The encounter between the three was just a small episode. After a few simple chats, they soon separated. Dad, these two sisters are so beautiful. Xiaobei tilted his head and glanced back. You will be prettier than them in the future. Really? Really? Xiaobei was happy. Of course. Dad, when will you find me a mother? Let's talk about it later. Chen Mou's face froze. This cheat daughter was really hard to deal with. Oh, okay then. Chen Mou carried Xiaobei back to the dormitory. None of his 3 roommates came back. Su Dao was lying in the hospital, and the other 2 roommates were in class or doing something else. Putting Xiaobei on the bed in his room, Chen Mou said, stay here for a while. Okay. Xiaobei wrapped the quilt tightly, revealing a small head. I asked you to stay for a while, not to lie down for a while. You just ate and fell asleep. Chen Mou had a headache at the moment. He was not mentally prepared for having a daughter for no reason. He was not good at taking care of people, and he did not have so much time and energy. It was terrifying to think about taking care of a child's eating, drinking, defecating and urinating. But it was not okay to ignore Xiaobei. He had to think of a safe way. Should he send her to an orphanage, or take her home to let his parents take care of her? Xiaobei, that? Chen Mou hesitated. Dad, don't you want me anymore? Xiaobei turned over from the bed, looking like he was about to cry. How did you know this? Seeing Xiaobei like this, Chen Mou felt a little soft again. How about trying to take care of him? Chen Mou held Xiaobei in his arms. Dad won't abandon you. At most, I'll send you back to your hometown so that you can feel the warmth of your grandparents. Really? Xiaobei smiled sweetly again. Chen Mou smiled like an old father, of course. Well, I'm tired, let's sleep first. Xiaobei was relieved, covered with a quilt, closed his eyes, and even breathing came from his nose. I told you not to sleep after eating, but you still lied down so quickly. Chen Mou was helpless and didn't care so much. At least Xiaobei is a sensible child, much better than the average naughty child. It shouldn't be too difficult to raise him, right? Sitting cross-legged on one side, he started practicing sea swallow secret. Driven by the sea swallow art, the magic dragon body refining method and the spirit refining method also operate. The three do not conflict with each other, forming a perfect balance. The magic dragon body refining method and the spirit refining method are originally chapters in the sea swallow art and complement each other. Chen Mou's body and mind are slowly strengthening. Half an hour later, Chen Mou felt something was wrong. The concentration of spiritual energy around seems to have increased. Usually the spiritual energy here is very rich, 5 times that of the outside world, but why do I feel that the concentration of spiritual energy nearby has reached 10 times now? And my mind is clearer, my mental strength is very strong, and the speed of thinking about problems has increased. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone, see you in the next video.